Bom dia, hello, good morning, welcome to Sao Paulo for the Rolex 6 hours, round 5 of the 2025 FIA World Endurance Championship. We're at the legendary Interlagos circuit in the city of Sao Paulo, home of the Brazilian Grand Prix. And for the second successive year, the World Endurance Championship is packing them in. Good morning, everybody. Martin Haven, Graham Goodwin, Darren Turner and Bruce Ioane down in the heat on the grid, waiting to bring you all the action as we get ready to look through our field of 36 starters taking on this re-tarmacked circuit. It's round 5 of the championship, and we are now just a month away from Le Mans in June, back in action. Then we have a summer break before heading to, in quick succession, Kota and Fuji, rounding out the season as we have done every year in Bahrain. Well, the tarmac is new, and that's going to lend itself to a few interesting stories probably over the course of this 6-hour race here. But the layout is one that is well known. Darren Turner, this Interlagos circuit is a real challenge for man and machine.
It's an absolute superb circuit. Traditionally old school circuit, Grand Prix track. But the Sector 1, the biggest thing here is actually the compromise you have to take through turn 1 and to try and keep the car tight to the left through turn 1. On the exit to get a good drive through turn 2. You need all that momentum through 3 and on the way down to turn 4 and use as much speed as you possibly can. So Centre S, great combination, the drop off through turn 1. Then you're into Sector 2. I guess the most important corner on this this sector of the circuit is turn 6. It's also the place that we're going to have the most action in terms of the difference between the hypercars and the GT cars. You can see them being stacked up in that point on the circuit. And then turn 12, the final corner before the big climb up the hill towards the start-finish line. Critical about the exit at this point to get a good drive up the hill. You want all of that speed to keep you all the way to the flag and hopefully get a good lap and keep out of trouble.
We all think of this circuit for its big, ballsy, fast corners, but it's the slow stuff that can make or break your lap and your race, particularly in traffic. You can see the cars lined up there in herringbone formation, starting with the hypercars and then with the LMGT3 cars, and lots of hyper fans here as well. Had a lot of pre-race excitement on the grid. Taking a look here at the number 81 Corvette, rounding out the top 10 in qualifying. They got through into hyperpole. There's Tom van Rompuy, who is ready to take the start. And the Corvettes both looking a little bit more competitive here this weekend. For Brazil, Antonio Augusto Farfus, and there is another one of our BMW drivers, perhaps even better known, Valentino Rossi. Lots and lots of fans looking to get autographs in autograph sessions yesterday and this morning.
Yeah, there's the number 33 car, Ben Keating aboard that car, a better qualification they've had so far this season. First chance to see the red sidewalls of the new Goodyear Eagle Hard compound debuting here at Interlagos, and that's the single choice. It's not a choice, it's the single tyre that will be allowed in dry conditions. As Vincent Voss there takes a look at the front of one of his cars. There's a very proud dad, Eduardo Barrichello, taking the pole position, and Rubens here to support him. Problems, though, on the grid, we believe, for the 83 Ferrari, Martin.
Yeah, sounds like they've got a sensor issue. It was giving all sorts of weird data on the formation lap, so work going on the grid there. Back into the top 10 here, and again, good-looking runs from the Proton competition Ford Mustangs. Stefano Gattuso is ready to start the 88 car from 8th place on the grid. Again, the front engine cars on this hard tyre had better front tyre warm-up than the mid-engine and rear engine cars, so that certainly didn't hurt them in qualifying. Now, we're waiting to see what the new surface does in terms of tyre life. Everybody expecting it to be quite high for tyre wear rather than drop-off and tyre degradation, so there is no harder tyre to go with in LMGT3. For the Iron Dames, another decent qualifying run, 7th place. Celia Martin will start. Most of these cars, Graham, will start their bronze graded driver.
They will indeed. It's a quick shot there of Michelle Gatting, crutches the ready, still recovering from that broken foot, but that's not going to stop her from taking the fight to the rest.
And Darren Turner, when you've got this Pro-Am lineup in GT3, you try and get your AM driver in, the bronze-graded driver in early, expecting that if there's a safety car, then that's going to burn up some of their time. But it does put pressure on them because the start is one of the most high-tension parts of the race.
Absolutely, and that's the normal strategy now, is start with your bronze driver. If there's an incident, safety car, full course yellow, at least that time is being burnt up while they're in the car. But obviously you want your fastest driver in the car at the end and to get elbows out and get scrapping and a chance to get onto the podium.
First of the United Autosports McLaren, the 59 car, be started by Darren Young. They've had kind of somewhat pogo-like form, and they, I think, have got high hopes here at Interlagos.
Yeah, this was the site of their first podium, and the second, the better qualified of them, Darren Young, starting in 5th place in the McLaren.
An amazing livery on that BMW M4, and next to me, 2 Brazilian drivers on that car, Augusto Farfus and Pedro Ibrahim, and the crowd cheering for you guys. So starting from the back, but still a lot of energy here.
Yeah, well, we are not as fast as we wish to. The car feels good. Team did a great job. And starting here in Interlagos is going to give it all. Let's hope to have a smile on the face at the end of the race.
Looking forward to the race?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been incredible so far. I'm smiling every second, enjoying every second of it. And what we can do now is maximize our opportunities and see what we can do.
Thank you very much and good luck. Have a good one.
Well, Darren, this isn't just a country that understands motorsport. This is a city that understands it so much.
It's been such a great event so far already. The atmosphere around here has been magic, and it's really nice. That's the best thing about coming to Interlagos is the fans here.
Martin Berry will start 4th in LMGT3 in the number 61 Mercedes. One of the 2 AMG Mercs getting through into Hyperpole. So again, showing some really good form here.
And it's a relatively recent addition to the bronze driver squad. Martin Berry beginning to turn heads, and I think there's further form to come. But one of the form marks here has been Lexus. This is the number 78 car. Arnaud Robin, it will start the car this afternoon. Watch for these 2 Lexus RCF GT3s when we go racing.
There were 2 or 3 other LMGT3 teams saying they're going to look very strong, the Lexus, in the first stint. Watch out for them on the second stint on their tyres, because you have to double stint your tyres pretty much to survive on the allocation for the 6 hours. So that's going to be interesting. They are certainly very, very rapid, and they were in Hyperpole, just missing out on pole position. Petru Umbrorescu will start. He's the man who did the qualifying to get them through into Hyperpole. The bronze driver does the first group session of qualifying, and then the silver driver in each of the GT3 cars sets the pole-defining time, or the grid-defining time, in the top 10 shootout that is Hyperpole.
Cracking qualifying from both of the Lexus, but didn't quite make it to pole position, because this car did. Racing Spirit Le Mans, the number 10 Aston Martin, on pole position here in Interlagos. Tony McIntosh it was that got them to Hyperpole. Eduardo Barrichello, Dudu Barrichello it was. That's Tony to the left and Valentino Urzaclo to the right.
And confirmation for the first time, we're seeing the Goodyear hard compound tyres. So the red sidewall, exactly as we see in Hypercar on the Michelin, the red sidewall is the harder of the compounds. There's no choice of compound here, but it's designed for a higher temperature range. And actually, it looks like today, those track temperatures might be up where we were expecting them to be. Track temperature currently 28 degrees and climbing. It's a relatively blue sky overhead. We had a lot of overcast during free practice and qualifying. The track temperature was lower than anticipated, of course. Now we're in the race. Nobody's had a chance to rehearse these track temperatures, so everything is going to be finding out as you go. Well, this morning, as yesterday, the pit walk and the autograph session, very well supported by the fans. Yeah, lots of tensor barriers, keeping the fans in order as they try to get autographs and selfies with their favourites. And Darren, this is one of the great things for drivers, you know, even if you're in one of the less well-known lineups, you still feel like a rock star with this crowd outside.
The crowd has been amazing, and this morning, the queues coming in, we were stuck in that this morning. It was great to see so many people coming through the gates this morning.
Well, let's talk to the man of the moment, our pole setter in LMGT3.
I am with Eduardo Barrichello, the son of Rubens Barrichello. Do I have to introduce him? Pole sitter in the Aston Martin number 10 yesterday. Amazing. All the fans supporting you. Is that good pressure or hard?
No, it's very good. It's very good. I think it's very motivational as well to have everybody here, you know, all the crowd. It just looks beautiful. And my family is here, my friends are here as well, my dad, my mom, and everything. So it's just so special. I think we have such a good car and strong competitive car. And I just hope we can have a clean race with no penalties, no damage and everything. And it would be my dream to be on the podium. So, yeah.
And we all wish you the best for the race. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Just a family that's steeped in the history of this place, isn't it? With Dad, Rubens, and now with Eduardo. Moving on then from LMGT3 into hypercar, and Michelin tyres offering the medium, which most cars will use most of the time, and the hard option. That might be right rears, it might be right side tyres, because Michelin's tyre engineers are predicting a lot of tyre wear here. This new surface, they say, is really wearing the tyres.
This 99 Proton Porsche would keep an eye though. Temperatures definitely up this morning. Far less cloud cover than we've seen before. Nico Pino from Chile will take to the start of this race in the number 99 Porsche.
Yeah, decent qualifying for them as well. They found some pace here, and he was actually quite optimistic of having a good run, but like many in hypercar, they did not try hard tyres during free practice. And so they're going to be venturing into the unknown in terms of tyre life. Again, in hypercar, like LMGT3, going to have to double stint the tyres. Nobody has really tried a hard, medium compound over 2 full stints in free practice.
Valkyries were well up there in qualifying yesterday. Briefly, we had both of them in the Hyperpole session. Didn't quite work out that way, but they've taken a big step this weekend. Expect to see them in the mix.
And Darren, you saw there from the graphic, only 2 drivers on board. We've got 7 hypercars that only have a 2-driver lineup.
It's going to be quite difficult for those guys that are running just 2 drivers. It's a challenging circuit physically, especially being anti-clockwise. And I've spoken to a couple of drivers over the last couple of days, and you know that long run from turn 12 all the way to the start-finish straight, it's a constant corner, and it's constantly loading you up on the right-hand side. So yeah, I think in any other circuit, running 2 drivers in a 6-hour race probably isn't such a drama physically, but here, yeah, it's going to be a challenge for those 2-driver lineups.
Well, here's another one of them. Both Astons running a 2-driver lineup. So Marco Sorensen will start the 009 Aston rather. Tom Gamble starting 007. Lots and lots of red in the audience as ever for Ferrari. Lots and lots of 46 livery as well for Valentino Rossi. And there you can see the 51 Ferrari crew starting to line up. Number 8 in the top 10. Only one of the 2 Toyota Gazoo Racing entries made the top 10 shootout in Hyperpole. And again, 2-driver entry. Just warming up, I think, for the Brazilian national anthem.
Da pátria nesse instante se o penhor dessa igualdade conseguimos conquistar com um braço forte em teu seio, ó liberdade, desafio nosso peito à própria morte, ó pátria amada, idolatrada, salve, salve. Brasil, um sonho intenso, um raio vívido de amor e de esperança a terra desce. Se em teu formoso céu risonho e límpido a imagem do cruzeiro resplandece, gigante pela própria natureza. És belo, és forte, impávido colosso. Se o teu futuro espelha essa grandeza, terra dourada, entre outras mil és tu, Brasil, ó pátria amada, dos filhos deste sol, das mães gentil, pátria amada, Brasil. deitado eternamente em berço esplêndido, ao som do mar e à luz do sol profundo, fulguras, ó Brasil, florão da América, iluminando ao sol de um novo mundo, do que a terra mais garrida, teus risonhos lindos campos têm mais flores, nossos bosques têm mais vida, nossa vida no teu seio mais amores, ó pátria amada, idolatrada, salve, salve, Brasil de amor eterno, seja símbolo, o lábaro que ostentas estrelado, e digo verde louro dessa flâmula, paz no futuro e glória no passado, mas se ergues a justiça, clava forte, verás que um filho teu não foge à luta, nem teme quem te adora a própria morte, terra adorada, entre outras mil és tu, Brasil, ó pátria amada, dos filhos deste solo és mãe gentil, pátria amada, Brasil.
Stunning. Beautiful rendition of the Brazilian national anthem, and thoroughly enjoyed by the crowd as well, joining in all the way through. So, drivers making their final preparations. Teams are now going to start leaving the grid. We get down to 9th in the hypercar category. Good to see the inspection cover is firmly attached to the nose of the number 83 Ferrari. Phil Hansen due to start that. It was glitching on the way to the grid, giving some very strange data readings. So they've changed some sensors there, and hopefully that will all be going well for the 499P. Of course, our Le Mans winners. 8th in qualifying. Both of the BMWs made it through into qualifying. Car number 15 in 8th position.
Yep, car number 15 on the job list. Remove Parrott from front of car has just been elected. But, well, amongst the highlights yesterday in qualifying, pole position to Cadillac Hertz Team Jota.
I am with Alex Lynn, driver and pole seater with the Cadillac number 12. How confident are you? You had two cars on the front row, but car 38 has been pushed back one position, so there's a Porsche there in between. How does that make you feel?
Honestly, I think our race is a lot going to be about what happens at the first corner. I think if we can lead off the start, we have confidence in our pace, but we know Porsche, I believe, is our strongest competitor, so to have them on the front row is going to be tough.
Will motivated behind the wheel?
Yeah, he's motivated. It's kind of his half-home race as well, because his wife is Brazilian, so yeah, it's cool. We're all excited to race today.
Good luck for the race. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, another standout qualifying effort from Alex Lynn. Porsche number 6, don't count them out as well. Towards the tail end of Hyperpole qualifying, Lawrence Vanthoor didn't quite get the lap together that he would have liked, but this car should be very competitive. Don't forget last year's drivers' champions in that car, and again, another 2-driver entry. So we'll wait and see whether that has an effect towards the end. 2 drivers in both the Peugeot as well. Mikkel Jensen with Paul de Resta. And again, it's a combination of clashing Formula E weekends, clashing IMSA weekends, clashing Goodwood Festival of Speed. I mean, there's so much going on the motorsports firmament this weekend that getting everybody here onto the grid has been tough. Better of the 2 BMWs in 5th place, number 20 car. Marco Wittmann rejoining the squad. So he's paired up with René Rast and Sheldon van der Linde. Rast will take the start. And then showing great pace in qualifying with a 6th place run and a 4th place qualifying effort, the Peugeot. And although Loic Duval takes the start, it was Malte Jakobsen who qualified the car for the first time yesterday. And Darren Turner, for a young driver who a year ago was their support driver, their sort of spare driver, to be stepping up so well in the main squad is really good stuff.
He was amazing yesterday. Both Peugeots, they surprised me in qualifying, being up there in the top 5 for the first qualifying, but then to do that lap that he did in Hyperpole was fantastic. You know, really he really is up to his game. What was interesting, actually, in the last sector, I think he was purple in the last sector for his qualifying lap, but he ain't made a small mistake, so I think he could have been P3 on the grid at that point.
Well, P3 on speed was this Porsche, but there was a penalty for the 38 Jota car. Sebastian Bourdais was judged to have impeded another car on the qualifying runs, so he was dropped a spot from what was an all-Cadillac front row. So the 38 car starts third with Earl Bamber. Julian Andlauer starts the number 5 Porsche in second, but it is still the number 12 Caddy that starts on pole position with Will Stevens at the wheel. Another great qualifying effort from Alex Lynn, the man who grabbed pole position for the 24 Hours of Le Mans just a month ago. And have Cadillac got the race pace? Have they got the tyre life? What about Porsche? What about BMW? What about Peugeot? The simple answer is nobody knows. Well, not those teams and not anybody else.
Well, in particular, with the resurfacing here, there's all sorts of questions, all sorts of possibilities. One thing I will say here, gentlemen, this race promises a great deal.
Well, there's the grid. Will Stevens starts on the inside of the front row. Alongside him will be the number 6 Penske Porsche, number 5 Penske Porsche of Julian Andlauer. Then Earl Bamber and Loic Duval. Peugeot looking very convincing here on single lap pace. Do they have what it takes for the whole race? René Rast with Mikkel Jensen alongside, and then Lawrence Vantor in the second Porsche, and K-Mag in the better of the 2 BMWs. Row 5, Phil Hansen in the 83 Le Mans winning Ferrari, and Brendan Hartley, again, a 2-driver lineup. Then it's all Aston Martin at row 6. Marco Sorensen and Tom Gamble will take the start. Row 7, Nico Pino starting for the 99 Porsche, and Miguel Molina in the best of the factory Ferraris, ahead of the Alpines of Fred Makovici and Ferdy Habsburg on row 8. Row 9, the final row in hypercar, James Collado in 51, and Mike Conway in Toyota Gazoo Racing's number 7. Then on pole, it's Anthony McIntosh ahead of Petru Umbrarescu, Arnaud Robin and Martin Berry on row 2 in LMGT3. On row 3, it's all orange, the McLarens of Darren Leung and James Cottingham, Papaya, okay. And then Celia Martin for the Iron Dames and Stefano Gattuso in the 88 Ford Mustang. All Corvette row, Ben Keating with Tom van Rompuy, his teammate alongside. The 81 car had a puncture on the way to the grid. Thomas Floor and Ian James, Ferrari and Aston Martin. And then Ryan Hardwick, the points leader in LMGT3, with Ahmed Al-Hati alongside him in the 46 BMW. Francois Heriot, again underlining the struggles of Ferrari. And just behind them, Yasser Shaheen and Fran Rueda, the final row of our 36-car grid. Well, the Ferraris are struggling in hypercar. The Ferraris are struggling in LMGT3, at least on single lap pace. But Darren Turner, qualifying is nice. Race is where it's all happening. We are going to hear from our official starter in just a moment. It is a face that you will recognise. Pit limiter armed. Oh, that's a great phrase.
Drivers, start your engine.
So time to get fired up and ready to race. And Darren, when you're the guy in the cockpit, this is when finally all the noise stops, I guess, and it's just you and your car.
It's actually a really nice period. You know, everyone's walked away from the car. It's just you, get your thoughts together, think about what your strategy is for that first corner. You go through different scenarios, so if something happens, you've got a plan. It's already subconscious. And even the night before, you're thinking about who's around you, what position you are on the circuit, and what may happen or what is the probability of something happening, just to give yourself sort of more thinking time when it does happen. So, yeah, you just go through that. Obviously, there's some procedural things to do now. One is just making sure when you lead off, you're going to get your temperatures and your tyres and your pressures right, and make sure that everything is under control in the cockpit before it's lights out.
And that's a big factor here, isn't it? Getting that temperature in the tyres. We have 2 formation laps, and then they will come to the green lights. And this is because we no longer have tyre warmers in endurance racing. And even on a warm, sunny day, it is winter, of course, in the southern hemisphere where we are. So track temperature now 28 degrees, not 38, not 48. It's going to take a little while to build the heat in these tyres. And Darren, I guess the key is you've got to build the heat gradually and not overstress it right from the word go.
Well, just to be a little bit kinder to your tyres. Obviously, qualifying, you can see them going out and they're very, very sort of gently bringing up the pressures and obviously the temperatures. But in the race, you don't have that. You do off the start, but you don't have that after a pit stop. So that time, you're always aggressive on the tyre and trying to get as much energy into the tyres as quickly as possible. But here, obviously, they can afford just to bring it up a little bit smoother than they would. A little bit like qualifying. The worst thing you can do now is like you've got cold tyres and you get a bit carried away and then suddenly you've looped around and you've dropped to the back of the grid. So you're very mindful of that as you lead off.
Yeah, and also just the tiniest lockup is going to haunt you then for the next 2 entire stints because the car will be vibrating horribly.
We have a wide variety of circuits in the FI World Endurance Championship. This is the shortest circuit
Let's keep those
on
gaps
the,
closed so that I don't need
the
to
calendar.
slow the leading car. Let's keep the gaps closed so that I don't need to slow the leading car.
That's going to have an effect on their ability to warm those tyres.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about 2 laps at Spa, I mean, that's
14
4 laps here.
Yes.
It's like 4 laps here, isn't it? So, yeah, they're going to be going, obviously, when the race starts, they're going to be going into it with pressures and temps not quite where they want them. But that is the nature of it. I'm just, thankful that they actually get 2
yes.
laps,
It's the smart move, and it was adapted, I think, to fit.
GT3 cars, car 27, you're constantly delaying everyone. Let's increase that pace, please, and reduce the gaps.
You'll have been used to, I'm sure, hearing this on the headphones in the garage as the cars are getting up to speed in ACO rules racing, and one of Freitas' internationally known tones.
Car 78, you're too far away from 87. Car 78, you were too far away from 87.
Yeah, you used to get some of the feedback through. Obviously, we never hear directly from Eduardo in the car. It always gets translated by the
Leading car approaching T1. We need the LMG3 cars to close the gaps, please.
It hasn't happened in a while, but Eduardo has history of waving off the start if cars are all over the place. He absolutely will not go green if it's a complete shambles.
Well, there's several critical parts of this, aren't there? The one of the gaps is certainly one of them. The other one is, of course, and watch for this at the start of the race. The cars must, in their grid order, go across the grid hatchings, and penalties will result if they do not.
Yeah, you have to follow. If you're on the left-hand side, you follow through the left-hand grid markings. If you're on the right-hand side, through the right-hand grid markings. You can't be heading up the middle. So, nervous anticipation in all the garages. 6 hours of Sao Paulo last year was an extremely entertaining race in both classes. I don't expect this to be any different. And Darren, it's a traditional Grand Prix circuit, and yet qualifying is probably more important here than almost any other track of the season.
Theoretically, the last formation lap. Car 6, close that gap. Car 6, close that gap. Car 50, close that gap. The same to LMGT3s, let's close the gap.
Sorry, Martin.
Yeah, qualifying.
Yes,
actually more important here than perhaps anywhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at historically this race, it's always the front row that has the most success, and yeah, qualifying here was probably more important than any other of the championship races.
Let's remind the drivers that exiting T11, we should assume formation. Let's remind all drivers to assume formation exiting T11.
So that's down at the end of timing sector 2, and between 11 and 12, the tight left-hander that leads onto the long uphill run. Lights should go out on the safety car.
All cars to grid formation exiting T11, please. All cars to grid formation exiting T11.
And that means no longer nose to tail, but side by side, and get it together, you guys. Lights are out on the leading car. A hypercar field is side by side as they climb the long rise up from Chunchao to the start finish. We are getting ready for the start of the 6 hours of Sao Paulo here in Brazil. LMGT3 looks well placed as well. We should be good to go green. Lights are out, we go green, and it is Will Stevens who takes the lead. The number 5 of Julian Andlauer, the Porsche under pressure around the outside. Earl Bamber trying to go through down into turn 2, but the road comes in favour of Andlauer in the red and white Porsche. Behind the white nose of the Peugeot of Loic Duval, right with them. There's a little gap back there to the number 20 BMW. Duval weaving furiously to try and build some heat in the Peugeot's front tyres, but it is Will Stevens that leads from Julian Andlauer and Earl Bamber. Loic Duval is right there, little gap back to the BMW, and behind the number 20 BMW of René Rast is Mikkel Jensen in the second, and the Peugeot's a challenge for the lead. The Porsche with great move up the inside, and it is Julian Andlauer who jumps Will Stevens as they get to that double right-hander at the top of the hill, turn 6 and 7. And the change for the Peugeot as well. Loic Duval has, Mikkel Jensen rather, has gone by René Rast. And it does look like Will Stevens has not got heat in the front because he's under pressure from the second of the Hurst Team Jota caddies of Earl Bamber. Busy opening lap here, but Julian Andlauer got the jump. And is that he's just done better job, Darren, at heating the tyres?
Certainly looked like the car got turned on a lot quicker. At the back end of Hypercar, Alpine made a great, both Alpine have made a good start. They've made a few places. 007's dropped back a little bit, back down to 17th, and the Ferraris have dropped a few places as well.
Bamber around the outside for second place, but he doesn't get it. Will Stevens still hanging on to second in the first of the 2 gold cars. Right behind them in team formation, Loic Duval and Mikkel Jensen, the white and green of the Peugeots. But Julian Andlauer checking out. Graham looked pretty clean in Hypercar. Was it clean in LMGT3 as well?
It was clean, I think. A couple of questions about the grid hatchings placement, but a new second place car, Darren Leung, in the number 95 McLaren, has powered past both of the Lexus cars. He sits second to Tony McIntosh's Racing Spirit Le Mans Aston Martin.
Well, there he is. There is the Racing Spirit Le Mans Aston with the bright yellow nose. And the first of the McLarens, Darren Leung, just ahead of Petru Umbrarescu with the black highlights and Arnaud Robin with the white highlights on those 2 red Lexuses. Then United Autosports, James Cottingham. Don't forget, this is the race where United's McLarens claimed their first ever podium finish. They were 3rd here a year ago. And behind the car of Cottingham, Proton Competitions, Stefano Gattuso in the Mustang. Now, everybody was expecting the front-engine cars to benefit a little more from the hard tyre because normally they've been quite hard on the medium that we used before. Let's see if that's the case. Out front, Julian Andlauer, 1.2 seconds clear and building that advantage over Will Stevens and Earl Bamber in the Cadillacs. And the Peugeots are right with him, but the BMW is just slipping a little. René Rast and Kevin Magnussen, 6th and 7th, and no progress off the grid for the number 6 Porsche. Penske running out very wide. Is that 51? Yes, it is. And now in trouble, 51 from the Aston Martin behind of Tom Gamble.
Yeah, Toyota's number 7 car ahead of James Collado now, and now James under pressure from Tom Gamble.
Challenge for second place. Umbrarescu goes back past Darren Leung in the McLaren. So Leung in the orange McLaren down to 3rd. Umbrarescu, the red and white Lexus, back up to second place. Looks like they've now got a bit more heat in the tyre.
Also a big battle behind here for 5th place between the second of the McLarens and the first of the Mustangs. Stefano Gattuso all over James Cottingham, looking up the inside here of the bright orange to the papyrus black car. Side by side as well between the 31, the Brazilian liveried BMW, picks up a place for the 92 Porsche.
92 Porsche, the turquoise car is the championship leader, and just 2 behind them, the 21 Ferrari, second in the championship. So neither of our front runners, in fact, they're now right behind them, having got by the 46 BMW. So the turquoise and black, that's the championship leader, right behind the second place car in the points.
The other thing to remind viewers here, it is the shortest track on the calendar. That means we're going to be in traffic sooner.
Oh, down the inside comes the 009 Aston Martin on the 36 Alpine of Fred Makovici, and he tucks him up. Good move, Darren. Yeah, good as an Aston Martin test driver to see the Valkyrie drivers really getting their sleeves rolled up here.
009, it's on a charge already. He's made a couple of places, but yeah, super to see that. And super to see the car competitive here. You know, it's in the mix pretty much for the first time, so it's great at this point of the season.
The racing not running, and that's great to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, here's how it works. Marco Sorensen on the dirt, on the tarmac, on the gravel, on anywhere he can find a bit of grip. Now, he didn't complete the pass by going 4 wheels off, so that should stick. On board with the Alpine. It is close here, isn't it? You have to take your chances when they offer to you.
Absolutely, at this point of the race as well, because they haven't got to the GT traffic at this point. They've got to make hay while they can, because at some point, fairly soon, they're going to be tripping over the GT cars, and that's just going to change all the dynamics.
There's a couple of dynamics about the Aston as well that don't necessarily help them. They've got a V12 engine, there's a lot of V6s, that's a lot more mass, and they carry more fuel as well. So when the tyre is fresh, that's the time to make your attack. Racing Spirit of Le Mans leading in LMGT3 from a Codis ASP. That's the Lexus behind this Racing Spirit of Le Mans Aston Martin.
And that pair are beginning to gap the group behind. Here comes the 009 for another crack at this. This time it's the Toyota that's the target.
This time it's the Toyota that won last year's race that is the target for the Aston Martin. Toyota locked out the front row last year in Hyperpole. They only got one car through into Hyperpole this year. And that's some solid defence as well from number 8 car of Brendan Hartley. I don't think he was probably expecting to have to hold off Marco Sorensen early in the race, but he is having to.
Turn 1 looks like Marco's favourite place at the moment, doesn't it? He's definitely sending it down the inside. And that first time when you do that sort of move and you don't know how dirty or where the grip is, it's a big risk. So the fact he wasn't able to lock up or anything like this. But wow,
Proton around the outside and side-by-side contact there with the Alpine. She tries to do that.
Nico Pino in the 99, the white car, round 30, Habsburg in the blue Alpine hanging on. And actually, this is all because Brendan Hartley was desperately slow there in those tight corners and backed up the Aston Martin into the Alpine, into the Porsche.
Valkyrie seems to have really good traction this phase of the race.
James Cottingham, in the orange car. Graham defending hard against the first of the Corvettes, and that is Tom Van Rompuy. In fact, he was attacking, going by Tom Van Rompuy, and right behind is Celia Martin in the pink and white Iron Dames Porsche. Down the inside of her has gone the 61, the black Mercedes, and Martin Berry. And this is one of the things, when you get cars that are in a battle, it opens up an opportunity. And again, the second of the Alpines now comes back under 009, so that's Fred Makovici.
Also into this scrap, and it is very much a scrap. Here comes the number 50 Ferrari. This car in the hands of Miguel Molina. It's battling groups here. This is cracking stuff in the early moments of this race.
Darren, you thought qualifying was busy.
This is insane, isn't it? And it just shows what a circuit like Interlagos can provide. You know, when it's tight, twisty in the middle sector and people are going to start tripping over each other. And also these cars, they all sort of turn the tyre on at different points of the stint. So, yeah, incredible. Yeah, super exciting. I think my heart rate's higher here watching it than it would be in the car.
Probably not, but I mean, we've got 6 hours of this. If Spa is anything to go by, if Le Mans is anything to go by, it's not going to calm down. Kevin Magnussen with the BMW. Right behind him is Lawrence Vantor. Vantor still unable to make any progress away from the grid in the number 6 Porsche. Yeah, of course, a Ferrari 83 is the next car, but it's a long way back already. Here comes Vantor. He's got to run up the inside. Nicely done. And again, you talked about how important... Oh, the BMW into the pit lane. Unexpected call. Brake problems we're hearing for the number 15 car. That's not what you need on this track. It's not what you need anyway. You can't go fast if you can't slow down. Back into our LMGT3 field, and again, that's the second of the Lexuses. Under pressure now. Arnaud Robin from Stefano Gattuso. And has he just squeezed by Darren Leung? Yes, he has. So the Lexus back up to 3rd place where it started. Leung in the papaya and black Aston Martin McLaren. Rob Bell will divorce me for that.
We just got a little bit of the end of that. I do wonder whether or not when we see the start under review, whether or not there might be a couple of questions about cars being out of position across the grid hatchings. Looked a little messy to me.
There was quite a lot of 3 wide, but don't forget the grid hatchings end at the start-finish line, which is quite early on that straight, so you can then start to fan out. You can leave your lane as you would in endurance racing parlance. Who is that over
Ferrari,
the grass?
and then...
Oh, yeah. And that's the 77 Mustang.
That's the second Mustang as well, in trouble to the outside briefly. Sorry, apologies. That was the 46 BMW.
So that was 21 Francois Heriot on the dirt. Let's ride on board with him.
All got a little bit messy there, didn't it, at the start of the race on GT3. Back on board here with Celia Martin. This is replay of her gaining and losing a couple of 3 places.
And Darren, I don't know how drivers deal with this. Fast-moving metal in all directions.
It's instinctive, basically. Obviously, these cars on the grass there is the damage that may have happened to the car underneath now. And are they going to have to carry that for the whole race? Is it going to be sort of costing them a couple of tenths per lap? So hopefully for both of those cars, it isn't going to be an issue. But you just, first corner, you just want to get through it without any damage.
And now the leaders are in traffic, and so it begins. 5 hours, 49.5 minutes of trying to get by slower cars. That's what it's all about while not losing position. There is Julian Andlau, the red and white Porsche. And look at the low speed here. At low speed, he's barely able to get around the GT3 cars.
Andlau has done a brilliant job in traffic here. He's gapped the car behind him by a distance here. If he can get around this Mustang, somewhat larger than most of the GT cars, and he's done that. I think we're going to see that gap extend fairly extensively. Meantime, as you can see, BMW is in the garage.
Yep, the whole front end is off, basically. If there are no brakes, this is not going to be a quick fix.
Normally for the first hypercar that comes along, it actually hinders them, because they're the first one getting up to people, into the mirrors and everything else. But I think it's actually worked out really well for them on this occasion.
Julian Andlau passes the LMGT3 leader in the pit lane. Bruce Ioani, what do you know about the BMW? All right, we'll try and catch up with Bruce. He's down at the BMW garage, and Andlau around the outside. Oh, no, that's not. That's number 5 car. Number 6 car, rather. Lawrence Fanto around the outside of René Rast.
6:20 battling away for 6th place here. It really is fast and furious stuff, isn't it? Almost 3 seconds the gap now, Andlau to Will Stevens, but with further traffic for Stevens to still negotiate.
And you just saw there at turn 4 exactly what the issue is. You've got the Mustang and the Aston Martin there fighting each other for position with another rival behind, and you've got a hypercar trying to find a way through as well. It's never going to be easy, is it?
Actually, it looked like on that occasion, the Mustang actually saw the hypercar going underneath and was like, I'm going to have a bit of that as well, get my nose underneath and make a move. So you're always looking for those little moments where you can take advantage of someone being pushed off the line, being out of position, and then you can just pick up a place without actually having to do too much work.
And the number 6 Porsche doing exactly that. As the BMW went through on the inside of Celia Martin in the Iron Dames, then the number 6 Porsche tried to dive into the same hole as well. Once the GT car's offline, then you've got an opportunity to go through. And again, in traffic, very tight. The 2 Alpines with the 99 Porsche right behind. This is the battle for 11th place. First, those 2 blue Alpines is Fred Makoviecki, then Ferdy Habsburg, then the white with the green highlights. That's the 99 Porsche of Nico Pino. 11th, 12th, 13th place. Headlights flashing everywhere. Corvette versus McLaren. First of 2 Corvettes, that's 81 Tom van Rompuy as we go back to this all-Alpine battle.
Yeah, 35 and 36 here battling away. This is for 11th place, Fred Mako, Ferdy Habsburg.
Struggle for the 83 Ferrari. It's now just squeezed ahead of Brendan Hartley up to 8th place, Phil Hansen. And of course, the win at Le Mans for that yellow Ferrari has ignited their championship challenge. They're now 2nd in the standings behind the crew of 51. So they've overhauled the 50 crew. So now it's all about trying to add the points wherever you can on board with 007. And that is Tom Gamble having a little tilt up Mike Conway's Toyota.
I said a little earlier, they look like they've got great traction this part of the race, and you saw it there, he almost had to lift out of it. The space just closed in front of him. He had the traction to get alongside, but not the space. Cracking stuff here.
Conway started on pole for Toyota last year. He was 18th on the grid for Toyota this year, out of 18 hypercars. On board with Conway, and there's one of the Mustangs in front. That's the 77 car, and you can see the Ferrari right in front of the number 7. That's 51, James Collado, your championship leaders. Let's hear from I thought we were going to hear from 007. There's a 7 and a 007.
Hearing from Bruce, by the way, it is a brake. They thought it was a brake bleeding problem that was required. The issue for the 15 lies deeper in the car, and they are struggling to find it.
Well, if it's a master cylinder or something, it should be on the firewall, but that's not going to be a quick fix.
009's just made a move on the Toyota, so it's moved up from 10th to 9th. Another one of Marco's moved into turn 1, outfoxing there.
That's going to be a reel after this, isn't it? Marco's moves. I just know that's happening already. Strange will be getting very excited in the Aston Martin PR team. So Julian Andlau leading then. Now, he hasn't really got that far away. 2.5 seconds clear of Will Stevens and Earl Bamber. But the difference between Stevens and Bamber, second and third, is now 5 seconds. So Earl Bamber in third place in the 38 Caddy has not had a good break in traffic this time round.
I'd say, though, Julian Andlau is not extending that lead anymore over Will Stevens. It's stabilised. Actually, Will, I think, is beginning to claw it back. One car here trying to stick with the programme through traffic. They're just about to clear the leader in LMGT3.
Darren, look at the right-hand tyre there on the Ferrari. It looks like it's on a Flintstones car. It's so lumpy and bumpy. Already, what are we, 16 minutes in? There's rubber filth everywhere.
It's certainly got a lot of pickup already on that inner edge through there. But looking back at the GTs at the moment, McIntosh is doing a great job, 10 laps in, still got the lead. But at some point, recently, the Ford has taken over from the Lexus and managed to get himself into third. So let's see what their pace is like. Are they coming with the Mustang and heading towards the front?
Looking back at the start for Hypercar, and watch the red and white Porsche on the left-hand side of your screen, challenging Will Stevens down into turn 1. First call, though, was to hold off Earl Bamber, who was going high, wide and handsome around the outside. It actually was all pretty much 2 by 2. They were 3 wide in LMGT3. They strung out nicely in Hypercar.
Neat and tidy start in Hypercar.
That's a view back from your pole man. Bamber going around the outside. And Andlau are having none of that. Darren, you've really got to choose your moment, haven't you, at the start?
It's that balance, isn't it, between aggression and knowing what grip you have with the cold tyres. So all of these guys in Hypercar, first few corners did a great job keeping out of trouble. A few sort of positions changed, but not too dramatic. But it's that horrible thing of you can be a hero in lap 1, but you can certainly go to 0, and that really does affect the rest of your race.
I can remember last year there were quite a few cars going off on the outside of turn 1 on the first run down through there at racing speed. On board with the 50 Ferrari, Antonio Fuoco, I beg your pardon, Miguel Molina. It's busy, isn't it? Lots of fast-moving, I was going to say metal, but lots of fast-moving composite in front of you.
Oh, big twitch there from the number 6 car, under the 83.
That's the bit you have to be careful of, isn't it? Your tyres just aren't there. You're still trying to push, and then you have a moment, and obviously open the door, and someone sneaks underneath you.
This was the attempt up the inside for the 93 car.
Yeah, Mikkel Jensen did get by the BMW at that stage. This is just before that. And this is the first of the big moves from Marco Sorensen. Going down the inside into turn 1. This is the onboard. The gap didn't get any larger, did it?
No. He made that gap.
And he resisted the temptation to have a little secondary lunge at the Toyota. And 99, the white Porsche, with the 36 Alpine under 35 Alpine underneath him there. Again, turn 1 is going to be one of the prime overtaking opportunities, isn't it?
Yeah,
always.
Turn 1, turn 4, they're the sort of key ones.
This is a big change. LMGT3's lead goes to Lexus. Petro Morescu has gone by Tony McIntosh and did a fabulous job for the first 20 minutes of this race. This is the move, Darren.
He's obviously seen Marco replicated that, but an easy, straightforward move down the inside. Both of them sort of running a bit wide at turn 1 and then obviously trying to grab it back for turn 2.
Tony under immediate pressure for second place from Stefano Gattuso. So Lexus from Aston Martin, from Ford, the Mustang, and then the second Lexus to your top 4, all front-engine cars. That top 4, 20 minutes gone.
And then the 2 McLarens, Darren Leung and James Cotting, with Tom van Rompuy in the first, the Corvettes between them. 46 under pressure from 92. That's Ahmed Al-Hati and Ryan Hardwick with the turquoise Porsche right behind Ahmed. Ahmed, of course, in the 46 BMW, because his teammate is the most famous 46 on the planet, Valentino Rossi. We'll see him in later in the race.
Well, say, remember, the 92 is our championship leader, Le Mans winner, carrying quite a lot of success balanced as a result. So for them, it's a long haul to try to just claw any points they can after this one.
And even 1 point might make the difference between stepping up onto stage as the world champion at the end of the season and not. But they are ahead of their closest rival, the 21 Ferrari, which is further down the order.
Will Stevens is clawing back that gap quickly now, 1.3 seconds, the lead gap to Julien Andlar. So the Rotz has been stopped and reversed. Half the gap we had, 3 laps ago, 2.4, 2.5 seconds. It's now 1.2.
And Will Stevens is clearly in clear air because he's just at a purple first sector of the race, so the fastest car in the first sector, and that means he's going to close down a little better as well. In fact, in sector 1, he was a second quicker than race leader Julien Andlar. Here's the challenge for second again. The Proton competition, Ford Mustang, looking to go around the outside of Tony McIntosh in that green and yellow Aston Martin. And the defensive line there, Darren, is sort of middle of the track. Make them go the long way round.
Yeah, especially if they've got a toe, and as you go through 15, if they've already got the toe and they've got a bit of an overlap, you want them to go up high, and that's basically what Tony was doing on that occasion. And he's already experienced someone coming down the inside, so he's learned something new of this circuit.
Critical phase as well, by the way, for the 2 Lexus cars here. We know they've struggled with second stint tyre wear on that car this season. It's the new tyre. They've got the opportunity here to shine, just exactly how this is going to play out when we get to the second hour of the race.
And again, it might give us a little bit of an indication what happens later in the season in Texas and in Bahrain, where we expect Goodyear to bring the hard tyre as well. On board in the 35, this is Ferdinand Habsburg, the second of the Alpines. Fred Makovici right in front has gone deep around the final point scoring car. That's the number 8 of Brendan Hartley, that Toyota Gazoo racing car in 10th place. We've got 18 hypercars, 18 LMGT3 cars. We only give 10 of them points at the end of the race.
Bit of a stumble, I think, in the first sector last lap from Will Stevens. That gap has dropped back to 2.5 seconds. So not a clean run on this lap for the chasing car. But meantime, with this group of 4, led by the Tota, then the 2 Alpines, and hanging on in there, the 99 car with Nico Pino.
10th, 11th, 12th, 13th this is, and 10th place is the better of the 2 Toyotas. The second Toyota is down in 16th, and trouble-free and James, 27. The heart of racing Aston Martin facing the wrong way from what was the battle for 10th position. And there's the other Aston. 2 distinct teams running those, side by side in the garages.
Both serviced, though, by Aston Martin Racing. Through comes the leader for the second time. So we are 24 minutes in. Christian Reed, Proto Competition team principal. 25 minutes in, and already the LMGT3's passed twice by the leading car. That's a mark of just how busy it's going to be for the remaining 5 hours and 36 minutes of this race.
Yellow's been removed from turn 12, so Ian's back on his way, but that's dropped him down nearly 20 seconds from the back of the gaggle of GT3 cars.
He'll be frustrated with that.
Very, but it's one of those corners that you could easily get sent round. Hypercar coming down the inside, but let's see with the replay.
Yeah, and of course then you're waiting for all of this solid queue of traffic to go by before you can rejoin. Car number 7's team manager has been summoned to race control. And that is the Toyota Gazoo Racing engine, Mike Conway.
Let's wait and see just exactly why that was. We've had an incident out there with a car turned around.
On board our sole remaining healthy BMW, this is Rene Rast. He's in 7th place now. In the mirrors, well, you can see the 92 Porsche as he goes by the Corvette, but the next car behind him, actually some way behind, is Marco Sorensen, 10 seconds back.
It is an incident under review. Ian James and Ben Keating, the 33 Corvette. We've not seen replay of that, but it would appear to be the 33 TF Sport Corvette and the 27 Hartic Racing Aston Martin involved.
And I think Ben Keating was one of the cars that was rally crossing down through the Senna S's at the beginning of the race. I think the other one was the 21 car of Francois Heriot. So two expected front runners here having problems. You can see now that there's a combination of tyres going on. Most cars on the medium tyre, but the BMW, Rene Rast, with right side hard tyres, a right rear hard on the Toyota number 8, but Toyota number 7, a full hard right side. So just Toyota alone, they're trying to figure out what's going to work through the course of the race, because they didn't have this heat and they didn't have the same track surface in free practice.
As the weekend's gone on, this is actually the hottest we've had the track temperature. So it's quite a risk to try the hard at this point. We're sort of not knowing if that's going to give you the performance or not. But I guess do it now, early on, get the information, and then be able to react later on in the race.
Okay, what are we seeing here? It was contact with Ben Keating and Ian James. Looked like Ben may just have had his nose inside the tail of the Aston Martin as they came down the hill.
It looked more like it was just a rear end and just pushed him straight on at that point into turn 12. But I would imagine that Ben may have been distracted because he had the the hypercar underneath him at that point. So it could have been looking in the mirrors and then just being caught out with where Ian was on the brakes.
Yep. Second and third place battle in LMGT3, still well aligned. Tony McIntosh in the green and yellow Aston Martin Racing Spirit Le Mans, then with the blue nose fading to white. That's the 88 Proton Competition Mustang of Stefano Gattuso. Coming through, here comes the headlights flashing of the race leader. I beg your pardon, that's number 6, Lawrence Vantor, because there behind him is Rene Rast. On board is Celia Martin. She is in 9th place, ahead of her Martin Berry in the Mustang.
And still battling away behind Alpine and the Toyota.
Yeah, Fred McAveeky showing his nose in the blue Alpine to the black Toyota of Brendan Hartley. And that car, don't forget, the number 8 car is a 2-driver entry this weekend. No Sebastian Buemi, he's on Formula E double duty in Berlin. And so it is Brendan Hartley and Ryo Hirakawa who are going to do all the heavy lifting this time round.
I've just noticed how many light panels there are around the track. And the amount of marshals out there waving blue flags. So you might as well just turn on those light panels, leave them on for the whole race, because there isn't going to be a point when they're not needed.
Side-by-side contact, the second of the Alpines and on the Ferraris.
Is that 21 again? Car 33 team manager has been summoned to race control. Back on board with 36 Alpine. Thanks, by the way, to Philippe Signot and his team for putting such whopping great numbers inside the car that we can easily spot which one it is on the onboard cameras.
That was 54, by the way, Thomas Fleur. Took the hit.
Yeah, quite badly delayed. That's dropped him 5 seconds back from the sister Vista A, of course, the number 21 car. And again, working through traffic. Here comes the Toyota. Hartley off and running out wide.
Alongside here is the Alpine. Look to the left.
Well, this is what happened with the number 6 Porsche last year, and there was contact coming down into turn 4 when they'd been split either side of a group of GT3s. Great opportunity for Fred McAveeky in 36 to pile the pressure on. They're coming up behind the Iron Dames. And that's a battle between Martin Berry in the Mustang and Celia Martin in the pink and white Porsche. In the Mustang, in the Mercedes. Ooh, outside, inside. Not quite.
35 also in this hunt as well. Both up the inside of the GT car.
And Darren, you sort of sense that if McAveeky here leaves Brendan offline, there'll be 2 Alpines through in a flash.
Yeah, when you're the second car in the team, like with the Alpine, it's like you've got to let your teammate have a fair go at making progress and not get underneath them, because you want them to be focusing on the car in front rather than looking in the mirrors and dealing with you. So you've got to work as a team at this point and try and get past as a pair rather than here we've got split of the GT cars.
Look at this.
He's got it, but did he do that?
Yeah, he gained advantage, 4 wheels off track potentially, so that might not stay. They might say you have to give that back.
With 4 cars that will get 5-second penalties at their next pit stop. It's the 46 BMW GT, the 51 factory Ferrari, the 81 TF Sport Car and the 88 Mustang for starting procedures.
Reduce the risk level.
Let him go.
He's let both go.
Yep.
Both the Alpines now ahead of the number 8 Toyota.
Got a replay of this manoeuvre going on right now. So obviously getting a tow, sitting in the tow, splitting the traffic now with the GT car. It's hard to say, you know, the McLaren was coming down onto the line, bit of avoidance. I would be sort of maybe putting a warning rather than a penalty for that. He was able to make the move stick, so let's see if something comes up on the board.
Well, in theory, that looked like he is going to be told by the team to give it back, but we'll wait and see. If Brendan Hartley's being told to let them go. And again, this is a view from 35, right behind Ferdy Habsburg. He went the long way around the outside. For now, at least, Brendan Hartley is down in 12th position in the number 8 Toyota, and Mike Conway in car number 7 is the last running car in hypercar. If there is a new Toyota on the drawing board, it can't come soon enough. And there goes Nico Pino in the 99, and on the inside of Hartley as well comes the 50 Ferrari of Miguel Molina.
There was a touch, I think, between the Toyota and the Ferrari. Molina, I think, punctuating that with the flash of the headlamps.
So is Hartley struggling because he's got only he's got full right side of hard tyres. Are they just not providing enough grip yet?
There was something rather odd, by the way, on that graphic we saw with the tyres. We were expecting the potential for maybe a couple of the teams to take a look at the hard-worn rear right tyre with a hard.
Yep.
Proton was shown as having a hard on the left at the rear.
Yeah, I think that might be a slightly odd graphic, but right rear is the one that does all the work here because it's an anti-clockwise circuit. You're basically turning left for more of the lap than not.
Yeah, Brendan's running the right rear hard,
Just right
but
rear.
it's a used one as well. So.
And it was Conway then with the full right side. Let's hear from Ferrari.
Keep in mind the 2 cars behind us should not change cars the next stop, but the 3 cars in front will change just like us.
All right, so we're looking then at the teams being very aware on the grid of what other cars are fitting in terms of new or worn tyre, because you don't have to start the race on the tyre in which you qualify. You can do, but you don't have to. 50 Ferrari on the attack now. Brendan Hartley right in front. At the moment, neither of the red factory Ferraris are close to being in the points. Only the 83 car is. It's in 9th.
Battle well underway. Can tell you the lead gap is 3.6 seconds now. Julian Anlau to Will Stevens in LMGT3. Tony McIntosh still in 2nd place, still fending off the charging 88 Mustang and the 78 Lexus. The 88 is one of those cars that will get a 5-second penalty. Car 7, Mike Conway, under investigation, overtaking beyond the track limits, turn 3 at 11:44, so 15 minutes into the race. On the basis that that's under investigation, I'd be surprised if we didn't see something similar heading the way of the Alpine.
Yep. Well, Will Stevens in 2nd place. Just got a quick look at him from the outside. This is from the inside, going around the 31 BMW. And that's normally orange, white and black, but for this weekend, with 2 Brazilians in the car, it is in the colours of Brazil. I wonder if it's going to be red, white and blue when we go to COTA. We'll have to wait and see. I quite like the idea of that, as having one of the cars in your team in the livery of the country in which you're racing. 92, the championship leader, with the Cadillac coming past. The 92 Porsche, the points leaders in LMGT3. Haven't talked for a moment or two about the Peugeot, but Loic Duval and Mikkel Jensen still 4th and 5th. And actually, where are they? They're sort of 15, 20 seconds adrift of the leaders, so maybe not with ultimate front-running pace yet. Don't forget, if you're enjoying the action so far this season, we have 3 more opportunities for you to be at the side of the track. Next up will be Austin, Texas, the Circuit of the Americas in September. We'll then head a couple of weeks after that to Fuji in Japan. That might be slightly more expensive for many of us. And then to Bahrain, the season finale. Tickets are available for all 3 events. If you go to FIAWEC.com, you can click the ticketing link at the top of the page, and that will take you to the respective track. And if you are anywhere in the North American landmass, I can't recommend Austin enough. Will Stevens under investigation for a technical infringement of tyre pressures. This is number 15 BMW back out of the garage with Kevin Magnussen aboard.
They've lost a lot of time, but good news that they're going to make it back out on the track by the look of things.
Yeah. Now, they are so far behind that it's going to take a cataclysmic nightmare for them to be anywhere near the points. But, again, you've come here to race the car, so race the car you will do. We're about 3/5 of the way through the first stint.
Okay, Mike, also information, Ferrari ahead 50 has a 5 seconds stop. It has a 5 seconds added to next pit stop penalty.
That's always good information to have as a driver, because then you know if there's pressure or no pressure, that's going to disappear.
That would be good if they'd read the note correctly, because it's Ferrari number 51 that's got 5 seconds added to the next pit stop, not Ferrari number 50, at least according to our screens. So it's always good to give your driver that sort of information, but it's better if it's correct.
Yeah.
So, you know, mixed metaphor there, mixed messages.
Julian another message then coming through then.
Yeah.
Settling down a little, he says out loud, but it is still Porsche, number 5 of Julian Andlau leading the race from Will Stevens and Earl Bamber in the 2 Cadillac Hertz Team Joda cars. Then the 2 Peugeots still there in 4th and 5th. The 2nd Porsche Penske Motorsport car 6th. And after that, it's just a mass of hypercar talent.
It really is. And the battles are sort of breaking up into little clumps. And Darren, that's because we've been in traffic so early, and that long, solid line of hypercars has sort of been broken up by catching the GT cars.
Yeah, I think it is always going to be like that in this type of race, when you've got this infield and you have all the gaggle of the LM3 GT cars. You know, you're going to come up to them, you're going to end up being just together as a couple of hypercars, and then your group's going to get sort of split. And so now you're going to see pockets of these hypercars going around. But you can also see now, obviously, second time round, we're 40 minutes in the race. It took sort of 20 minutes before we had the first lap of the GT cars, and now there's a bit of calmness out there, but that's all going to come back fairly soon.
Peugeot leapfrogging its way through the battle for 2nd place still. Tony McIntosh, let's not forget, his debut in the FI World Endurance Championship, doing a fine job and trying to keep that car in position for local hero Duda Barrichello to take over the car shortly.
So it's one thing to be a debutante, it's another thing to be a debutante at the track that you've never even seen in your life, and then put it into hyperpole and then do so well at the start. Unexpected pit caller, 35 Alpine of Ferdy Habsburg. Should still have had around 40% of usable energy in the car. So what's this all about?
The dolly was coming out. Yeah. The dolly was coming out for that car.
That's not good news. So unexpected pit caller, 15 BMW. You can see how early, it's been refueled, the BMW, but the Alpine, still only 2/3 of the way through the stint.
All tyres under control here. You are free to push more tyres.
All right, so tyres under control, which means the temperatures haven't risen too hard. Let's try again with Bruce Ioane in the pit lane. Bruce, what do you know? Okay, not hearing anything from Bruce this time either. So, unfortunately, I think we've got a couple of technical issues there.
Trouble there. There was a moment for the 6 car, overcooked it through turn 1.
And this is
drifted
actually now
down
going to
towards
give
2.
P3 in G-tier run on McIntosh in the Aston Martin. So out of position from the hypercar. And will he get the drag down to turn 4? But it's also closed it up with the Lexus right behind them now.
Yeah. Lexus is right alongside the Proton Competition Mustang, can't get around the outside of turn 4. That was a big moment for the number 6 Porsche of Lawrence Vantor, not for our race leader though. Drive-through penalty for the number 12 car for too low a tyre pressure. Will Stevens at the start of that car.
It's a second place car. It's a big moment for Cadillac Hertz Team Jota, big moment as well. It's going to reduce the pressure on the leader, the number 5 Porsche Penske Motorsport car. Earl Bamber significantly further back here, confirmed on screen now.
Right, we have a major technical issue in the pit lane with the number 35 Alpine. It's a red light car. It's showing a potential failure with the hybrid system, and that means it is stationary. It's nobody able to touch it.
Well, is this? Well, that's also under an investigation with that side-by-side contact we saw.
Drive-through penalty for technical infringement.
Now we know that was tyre pressure we saw on our screens.
Yeah, there is a minimum tyre pressure mandated by Michelin and also by Goodyear for their tyres. Because Goodyear are running the harder tyre, they've actually dropped that. Now, Ferdy Habsburgsen had jumped free of the car. Almost inevitably, when the red light comes on, it's a glitch in the system rather than the hybrid has made the car live. But nobody wants to be the one to find that out by earthing themselves. So you jump clear, and now the issue is you've got to sort the car or move the car to what they call Area 51, which is where red, potentially live cars are moved to, but that's...
They can't.
On the inside of the final corner.
They can only do that if the driver's in the car. They can't move to 51. There's no hands on the car, so this is going to be a bit of a pickle for Alpine when they pit the other car.
And for everybody else, because there is a live car potentially on pit lane. So meanwhile, back to the action, the 50 Ferrari, and this is the car Miguel Molina chasing Brendan Hartley.
And potential issue as well for number 8, Tota. It's all happening at the moment, isn't it? Car 8 team manager to race control immediately, please. And under pressure from the 50, the Ferraris, they feel as if their strategy is working as well as it can at the moment. We'll explain a little bit more about where they are in the cycle of the World Endurance Championship right now. Obviously, we've had all 3 Ferraris win races this year. They've won all the races this year, and the form book here is showing they're not really on race-leading pace. That's all to do with the way in which performance is managed across the season. When we get a moment to talk about that, we'll do so.
Well, that'll be tomorrow, because I don't see that happening this afternoon. Darren, how busy is the race director and race control at the moment? I mean, it's people being summoned left, right and centre.
It's a busy time. And just going on Will Stevens then in car 12, they've got that penalty to serve. He's done fastest sector in sector 1, so he's closed the gap. He's down to that 1 second. And I'm just wondering if the temperatures today have caught them out on the Cadillac team. They've predicted that the temperature was going to have more of an effect on the tyre, put the pressures down a bit low. Now he's coming in for his drive-through. Yeah,
you saw Ferdy Habsburg being congratulated, commiserated with by the team. They're out of the race for sure. Number 8 under pressure still from the 50 Ferrari. And this is for 12th place. Brendan Hartley clinging on, reducing the risk as he was told to. Basically keeping his guard up against the attack of the Ferraris, but not trying to do too much. And that's including the tyre as well. Just in front of them, LMGT3 battle, Celia Martin in the Iron Dames, Porsche all over the back of Martin Berry in the 61, the black Iron Lynx Mercedes, and that is a battle for position 8th and 9th, and they're right on them now.
For car 8 starting on the qualifying tyres, it's always going to be the worst stint, isn't it? You're on the back foot at this point, so like minimise the risk. You know it's going to come better in the race, and when you end up on a new set of tyres.
So on pit lane, 009 Aston Martin, Marco Sorensen, 44 minutes into this race, in and out of pit lane with that drive-through penalty, number 12 Cadillac, and Will Stevens emerges in 4th place.
looks like a driver change for the Aston as well. Meanwhile, second place Aston in LMGT3, still holding on Tony McIntosh. Did a really stand-up job alongside, or just behind him, Stefano Gattuso with the blue nose. Then you can see the red and black of the Acodis Lexus of Arnaud Robin as Brendan Hartley squeezes by, well, not quite a teammate, but a car from the same brand. Toyota and Lexus are the same parent company. And off goes 009. Now the doors were open. Didn't actually see if Marco Sorensen got it. I'd be surprised if he had, actually. You normally need gel ignite to get Sorensen out of the car when he's in that sort of mood. It's like a dog with a bone.
He's had some first stint, hasn't he? That was all action, Darren.
Yeah,
lots of bravery.
But also, as a driver, you want to get into this race. You don't want to be jumping out of the car after the first stint. So a double stint would be normal. But they're one of the cars out there, out of the 7, that are just on 2 drivers. So they've got to pace the drivers as well in this situation.
Marco is still in the car. I still say you're going to need, you know, some properly stern words to get him out of the car this early. He doesn't want to peak too soon, but on the other hand, he is really pushing hard. Tom Gamble we're looking down on. Behind him, the number 7 Toyota Mike Conway. Conway no further action on that overtaking outside track limits. That may well have been getting round LMGT3 traffic, and in those circumstances, I'm pretty sure that our driver advisor, Peter Dumbreck, will have said he had nowhere else to go that didn't involve causing an accident. And sometimes, as you know, Darren, you know, cars, quicker cars are going to have to go by the GTs somewhere, and it's not always, quote, strictly legal.
Well, certainly with that manoeuvre there, it's like the McLaren had a bit of a gap down to the white line, and effectively it was coming down and the gap was closing. So what does he do? Back out of it and then get caught up with the other GT car that was nearby. So you have to sometimes just go, it's not quite right, but let it go.
Yep. Look at the filth on the screen. All of those black marks, that's not insects, that's big lumps of rubber that are already getting thrown up. The rubber that comes off the tyres here is not like your car tyre, it's like chewing gum. It's really soft and gooey, and when it bounces off the car, it leaves these big black smears. We haven't even been running for 46 minutes yet.
Number 7 car here in a battle for position with the checks notes, 007 Aston Martin. That's got some statement. Car 8, Brendan Hartley, under investigation. That's another Toyota under investigation for overtaking beyond track limits. The investigation on the 7 has come back as no further action.
Yeah,
I think I remember that move. It was on the way out of turn 3, around the outside of one of the Mustangs, and the Alpine was underneath as well. And we thought there was going to be a move down into turn 4, but it's one of those, the Mustang was going to push him off the track, so you have to go round, use all the road on the way out of the corner itself.
Now this battle in LMGT3 is closing right up. We've just seen that Celia Martin in the Iron Dames pink Porsche has gone by Martin Berry's Mercedes, and she's closing in. So there you've got the first of the 2 orange McLarens is 5th, then the yellow Corvette in 6th, then the second McLaren in 7th, then the pink and white Porsche in 8th, then the Mercedes in 9th, but they are catching the 4th car, the Lexus as well. So there's 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th in LMGT3 in one shot.
And remember, with no interruptions this race, it's all been done on pace. Quick insert shot there of the shenanigans and the dramas for the Alpine Endurance team with this live car, the car with the red light. The rubber mat is out. The team member ready to intervene on the car when it's safe to do so.
Yeah. And there will be very strict protocols that all the teams are being educated on. We'll have our hybrid safety officer down there as well, making sure that everybody is as safe as can possibly be. And again, as the caddy in 2nd place, Earl Bamber, works his way through this long queue of LMGT3 cars, there's barely a car length between any of them. When you're a hypercar driver, you've got to try and sort of leapfrog across like you're passing a queue of trucks on the motorway.
Yeah, it makes it quite special, doesn't it, to try and find a hypercar type gap that you can squeeze into at that point and not slow yourself down too much at that point as well. So that's the thing. This is the problem for the hypercars coming around. You've got 8 cars there, all sort of nose to tail, and you're not going to overtake them all in one go. So it's got to be piecemeal and just work your way forward, and hopefully you end up doing a better job than the person that you're racing against.
Celia Martin now right up behind the second of the United Autosports McLarens. That's James Cottingham. So there's Darren Leung with the yellow Corvette behind him of Tom van Rompuy. And then just a car's length or two further back is the battle for what is now 7th. James Cottingham versus Celia Martin.
Let's give you a bit of context for that. The 35 car, by the way, is now going back into the garage. The intervention has seen that car with a green light. Yep. 10.7 seconds is the lead for Petra Andreescu. So 10.7 seconds. The next 8 cars are separated by less than 7 seconds after that.
Look at the way from the onboard here. Look at the way that the hypercars are weaving in and out like some, junker on a Saturday night. But they've got to find a gap somewhere.
Yeah, you can't be polite, that's for sure. He can't be after you at that point. But they're like just that moment there with the Peugeot coming across the nose of the Corvette. Yeah. They're the little points that you have to be really careful, just because you might tag yourself into a spin at that point.
Now, we saw a little bit of contact about half an hour ago between the Peugeot of Mikkel Jensen and the number 10 Racing Sprint Le Mans Aston Martin of Tony McIntosh. That's under investigation. 10 seconds added to the next pit stop of the 33 Corvette. That's Ben Keating, and that'll be for that contact that turned in James around. On board with the number 12 caddy, a fired up and slightly annoyed, undoubtedly, Will Stevens. And that was a replay of him going into the pit lane, I'm assuming, for the drive-through rather than him going in again. No, they are boxing now, so that is maybe their regular pit stop.
That's about right. Car 33, meanwhile, that is the 10 seconds added to the next pit stop for Ben Keating.
What are we seeing here? Whistling up the inside of the BMW. So that was going past car number 15, which has been very badly delayed. It's actually 19 laps behind everybody else.
It was 27 minutes on pit lane for the number 15 car for that, what we believe was a braking-related issue. The car now out and running, lets the 12 go.
So first of our regular pit stops then for the 009 Aston Martin and Marco Sorensen. The second for Will Stevens in car number 12. And there you go, confirmation on screen of that penalty for the 33 TF Sport Corvette. Now then, the 88 Corvette, Mustang rather, of Stefano Gattuso is in 3rd place. Bruce Joanny is down in the team's garage.
In the Ford Mustang garage, Denis Sorsen, driver of 88, teammate of Stefano Gattuso, who's actually running P3 at the moment. It's great to see you guys in the mix.
Yeah, it's been super nice. I have to say a big thank you to Ford, Multimatic and Proton, doing a really good job with the car, and I think we have a good package here. We welcomed the new hard tire pretty good. It's helping us a bit, and Stefano is doing a fantastic job at the moment, but unfortunately we have a 5-second penalty to serve now in this pit stop coming up, but we'll come back.
Excellent. Just talking about the tire, it's early in the race, but how is the degradation with the car?
It's reacting pretty good with our car, to be honest. There is quite a bit of tire deg, but so far in the first stint, Stefano is managing well. Also trying to manage energy, but we'll see how it pans out in the next stint. That's the critical one.
Excellent. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thanks.
Back with the action in LMGT3, and again, this is 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, everybody below the top 3. Pit stop for the 78 car, so Arnaud Robin comes in.
From 4th.
Yep.
So, first of all, regular stoppers, I think. Maybe a little earlier than we're expecting for this car, but that might just be tactical, keep it out of the way. Stumble out the pit lane there for the big Lexus.
You hear that big V8 crackling away, and new Lexus LMGT3 car potentially on the way, Graham.
Well, I mean, yes, what we expect to be announced as a replacement car on public display at the Goodwood Festival of Speed this weekend.
In massive camouflage, so maybe we might get an announcement, I don't know, say in Fuji, perhaps?
Interestingly, by the way, being driven by the Haas F1 drivers this weekend up the hill at Goodwood.
Oh, okay.
Kaz Nakajima drove the car on the first day of the festival. He's back here now in his regular place, and following that car down pit lane, by the way, has come the race leader LMGT3.
Yep.
Petra Andreescu. What a first stint he's had. And I think pretty much everybody's going to be just behind them.
Not alone. Iron Dames stay out. So does the 60 AMG Mercedes. So quite often, Darren Turner, when you've got two cars together from the start of the race, they'll have started with the same fuel, used the same fuel, but you'll stagger them, bring in one a lap earlier so that you don't have them both together.
Yeah, that's the worst thing you can do as a team, isn't it? Trip over each other in the pit stop and cost each car a couple of seconds. So, yeah, just changing the strategy a little bit, because you don't know in the race if you're going to be in that situation when it comes to the first pit stop. So you have to go that the best option is going to be just do it one lap between it, gives the guys a chance to reset and go again.
Interesting. Yasser Shaheen is out of the 31, the Benz BMW, WRT car. That's being handed over then to Pedro Ibrahim.
Interesting bit of tete-a-tete and tittle-tattle between the WRT and United teams.
Oh, yes.
The BMW is both carrying fundraising branding, the We Are United. And if you look carefully at the back of each of the McLarens, you'll see a little bit of vinyl that actually says, we thought we were united.
No. They've got We Are a Team, WRT, vertically down through We Are a Team. But on the 95 McLaren, they've got We Are United.
No, the BMWs are carrying We Are United branding.
Oh, OK. Well, I saw it on the back of the McLaren this morning. So out comes our pit-stopping group, and one of the Aston Martin hypercars going through.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like car 10 has lost a load of time in that pit stop. Obviously, it was running second when the pit stop window opened for these cars, and it's dropped down. So,
minute and 17 on pit lane. Tony McIntosh has come back out the car, though.
Minute and 14 also for the 81 Corvette Tom van Rompuy, and that is the car that was behind that number 10 machine. So just not quite as quick on the pits. 1 minute 18 for, if that was Augusto Farfus getting into the 31 BMW. And 1 minute 33 for Iron Lynx's number 60, the yellow Mercedes. Andrew Gilbert stays in. So back with our hypercar battle, and this is 8th place, the Alpine, the blue car, and 9th place, the white Porsche.
Big winner in the GT stops so far was the car that stopped early. Finn Gersit's now bought the 78 car. 1 minute and 6 seconds on pit lane, and that's at least 2 seconds quicker than anybody else, and 12 seconds better than the slowest stop of that round, which was Augusto Farfus in the Benteam WRT 31 BMW.
Now, the other Lexus was 3 seconds slower, 1 minute and 6 compared to 1 minute and 9, but they went a lap further on fuel, so there was more to put in, and that might be just part of that. And again, where you've got a pair of cars and one stops a lap earlier, it means that they haven't used quite as much fuel. On board with Brendan Hartley, 10th place. Miguel Molina right behind, yeah.
3 more laps we're hearing for the race-leading Porsche. 11 seconds to the good. That gap, of course, drawn out with the penalty for what had been the leader of the two Cadillacs. That car now down in 15th, having made its first regular pit stop.
Now, my brain has just formulated a question, and I'm going to get Jason to look in the rules to see whether the Alpine is now allowed to rejoin, because it's green.
We are losing too much time, but this guy, you can try brake as well to help you, a bit more aggressive on your bars as well. It helps you to pass.
I think this is a stage of the race, Darren, where everything looks like it's disastrous, but in 5 hours, it might be a very different picture. And so you've just got to keep your nose to the grindstone and do what you know works for the car.
It's just about keeping it clean, isn't it? And that's is easier said than done, isn't it, with this amount of traffic and how much of the actual circuit you're in the corners, effectively. It's not really a place, other than really the run from turn 3 down to 4 is effectively the only time you're not having to turn the steering wheel, because even as you go up the hill, it's constant radius all the way up there. You get onto the start-finish straight and you're moving from the left to the right to set yourself up for turn 1. So it's a busy circuit out there just to drive, let alone dealing with all the traffic.
With all of the GT cars now having pitted, it's a Lexus 1-2. Petr Andrescu leads the race from Finn Gersit's 87-78. It's at a 6-second gap back to James Cottingham. who stayed aboard the number 59 United Autosports McLaren. Then the Iron Dames sit fourth with Celia Martin and Maxime Martin. No relation in the Iron Lynx. No relation. 61 AMG. No relation.
Right, cars into the pit lane, Alpine, and so this is number 7 Toyota. So fuel only for them. In fact, it wasn't the Alpine, this is 007 Aston. So this was a battle for position. Tom Gamble ahead of Mike Conway. I will say that again, a battle for position. Tom Gamble ahead of Mike Conway. Driver change there. And again, Darren, you talked about the fact that with two drivers, they might look at literally alternating stints just so you're not wearing each other out, and that could well be what's going on.
6 Porsche on pit lane, as is the 94 Peugeot.
Yeah, 94 comes in from 4th, Loic Duval.
Having quite the race, Peugeot, at the moment, in the mix without a shadow of a doubt.
You mentioned about the tyres onto the actual windscreen. That was the first rip-off we've seen. It's generally when the sun's high, it's not such a big of a problem, but as the sun goes down during this race, and then it starts to get in your eye line, those marks on the windscreen do have a big effect on what you can actually see.
Well, the other thing here is that you're often going uphill and downhill, but particularly when you're going uphill, of course, that artificially lowers the sun, doesn't it? As we know. So, 35 car, 10 seconds added to their next pit stop.
At least their worries at the moment, the 35 car.
Well, now the story is that if you fix the red light and it's green, the car is allowed to rejoin, and it could do as long as it doesn't have any other issues. So they may not have fixed entirely their hybrid system problem.
Pretty certain, by the way, the issue that's given the penalty for the 35 was that side-by-side contact with Thomas Fleur and the 54 Ferrari.
Race leader is in, and that means Earl Bamber cycles to the front of the field. Unless he comes in this time, Cadillac will lead.
I think that's Cadillac's first lap led, isn't it, as well? Because the lead was taken by Porsche very early on in the race. Earl Bamber it is to the lead, also in the second of the Peugeots, the number 93 car.
Number 5 started on 4 mediums. We hear that they're talking about a right side tyre change. Not quite sure what the bellowing at the pit wall is all about there. Julian Andlauer and Fred Makabiki, and Mikkel Jensen rather, both in the pit lane at the same time. Off goes the race leader. Meanwhile, Bruce Chouani has found himself quelle surprise at a French team. He's talking with the Dane, Malte Jakobsen.
I am next to Malte Jakobsen, driver of 94 Peugeot. Malte, first, you had a good weekend so far. An amazing qualifying. You did an amazing job in qualifying. And now running currently P3. You must be delighted. And it's a good start overall for Peugeot this weekend.
Yes, definitely. I mean, this is my first visit to South America, so it's been a great experience so far. And as you said, the race is currently running smoothly. Loic managed to make a clean start, which is the most important. And then the Cadillac had a penalty, so we moved up 1 position. And I mean, now there's still, 5 hours to go, so it's going to be a very long race. But I look forward to jumping in the car.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Have a good race.
Thank you.
Yeah, cracking stuff from young Melter in qualifying yesterday. But a good day so far, good weekend so far for the Peugeot team. This is the 38 Cadillac on pit lane. We cycle through. In fact, Earl Bamber in from the lead. And of Rennie Rast as that all cycled through. So the 38 of the Caddy and the 20 BMW, both on pit lane now.
99 Porsche. That's Nico Pino who started the race, being eased out onto the dirt, the Mustang. And that's one of the problems, Darren, for the hypercars, is that the Mustang, and like all the GT cars, like everything else, they need to use the track. They're committed, they're racing at full speed, they're not just mimsing around in the middle lane.
I think on that occasion, it was basically Mustang just didn't see him. Yeah. You know, he had another GT car up behind him, so he's distracted from that. The Porsche's going around the outside, and it didn't look like a deliberate move, and it wouldn't be in that situation. You're not trying to fight any of the hypercars, so I just think it was one of those occasions of not spotting them in the mirror and just using your normal racing line and obviously pushing them off. Now the concern, though, for the 99 is, has it got any damage? Like we mentioned earlier, any time you go off into the grass, you just don't know if it's going to pick up something that's going to cost you a tenth or two per lap, which obviously has a great effect over a race distance of 6 hours.
And the performance of all of these cars is so close that any slight derangement of the floor, the splitter, is going to really detrimentally affect your performance. 51 in the pit lane, James Collado remains in.
Yep, and it is at the moment,
isn't it?
Best placed of the 3 Ferraris.
It is, but that's only because it's the last one to come into the pit lane. On board with the number 6 Porsche, Lawrence Vanthoor currently in 6th position. That might stay as the 38 Cadillac came out right in front of him. Oh no, that's the Peugeot. So that's Mikkel Jensen in front of him, car number 93. These very encouraging signs for Peugeot. There's something about this track that does seem to gel well with the 9X8. Rather hoping that we'd see good performance from those white cars at Le Mans, but the 24 hours just really was very disappointing for them.
Car 8, by the way, another no further action overtaking beyond the track limit. Same happened with the number 7. Worth mentioning as we watch the cars powering by here, we're at a phase of the season where the new method of balance of performance for this season is swinging in a different direction because it takes into account the best 2 of the previous 3 race results or race performances, not including Le Mans. So that's why we're beginning to see some pretty clear swings, and that has benefited, for instance, the Aston Martin, which came in with 0 data, therefore was given a pretty harsh hit at the start of the season. Now they're getting something based around their actual performance. It's the same story for Ferrari, who of course have dominated the season to this point, and now we're getting to the stage where their whole season performance is being taken into account.
Yeah, and again, you know, that's worked a little bit in favour of Peugeot. They're losing a little bit of weight, they're gaining maybe a little bit of horsepower as well, because they haven't featured quite so strongly. The FIA look at the data from 60% of the clean laps of cars, so not including full course yellows or safety cars or pit stop laps or anything else. So it's a very broad church. It's not just, well, that's the fastest lap that one of those cars set. They look at all the cars from a manufacturer in the race. So it won't just be the Penske Porsches, it'll be the 99 Porsche. It won't just be the red Ferraris, it'll be the yellow Ferrari as well. And that was a pass 4 position. The leader going by and putting a lap on the 51 Ferrari. Rolex 6 hours of Sao Paulo starting in bright and sunny conditions with a full house and plenty of Brazilian glamour as well in the pre-race setup. A very smiley Rubens Barrichello. He was racing yesterday, wasn't here to watch his son qualify on pole position in LMGT3. But if you've seen a prouder dad, I need photo evidence. He's absolutely thrilled. Valentino Rossi, as ever, like Robert Kubica, an internationally famous driver, drawing plenty of attention. And at the start, all eyes were on the Cadillacs and Julian Andlauer in the red and white Porsche.
Usual, the start is under it.
He challenged from second on the grid. Earl Bamber trying to go around the outside of Andlauer. That didn't work. And the Porsche driver immediately, unlike the number 5 car, number 6 car, which was struggling, Andlauer looking for the lead of the race. In LMGT3, it was a nice clean start, at least until turn 2. Then we had a couple off rally crossing. Ben Keating and Francois Heriot in the yellow and silver cars. And then the field working their way through as Julian Andlauer took the lead very early on from Will Stevens in the number 12 Cadillac. Stevens then came under pressure from his teammate Earl Bamber. Sebastian Porte not liking that, another of the drivers in the 38 car. In LMGT3, great battle between the Lexus and the McLaren. Toyota versus Aston Martin. Marco Sorensen sending it deep down the inside. A move that he pulled off a number of times successfully during the opening hour of the race. Challenge for the lead in LMGT3. Petru Umbrarescu going through ahead of the pole-sitting car of Anthony McIntosh. That was down to second place. Contact between Ben Keating and Ian James, two old sparring partners. Turning James around, Keating served a penalty in the pits because of that. And then two Alpines attacking the Toyota. 35, Fred Makovic making it through, but did he gain an advantage by running out wide? Well, no penalty has come their way so far. Bruno Faman there looking at that going, ooh, we might have to think about giving that back. In the end, they didn't, but there was drama for the 35 Alpine. Ferdy Habsburg bringing the car in with a red light on. They have a hybrid issue, and although the red light is now off, it looks as though the car is not yet fixed. Into the pit lane, the number 12 Cadillac for a penalty. Contacting traffic for too low tyre pressures, but at the end of the first hour, it is the number 5 Porsche Penske Motorsport 963 that leads. Well, not much happened in the first hour then, I suppose. Better look to the remaining 5 for the excitement. Here's our two factory Ferraris, 14th and 15th. 50, Miguel Molina, just ahead of 51, James Collado, and they are definitely struggling a bit for pace here.
They're off the lead lap, both of them. That's an extraordinary thing to say at this stage of the season. As we explained a little while ago, the way that the performance management in the World Endurance Championship is panning out. This is sort of what you would expect at this stage of the season after such a dominant display in the opening races in the World Endurance Championship.
Look at the front of the wheel arch there on that onboard camera, Darren. You could just see bits of rubber being flicked up onto it all the time down the straight. The track is absolutely covered in... we heard from Pierre Alves at Michelin a couple of days ago, who's saying the new surface, because it is so brand new, it's giving lots of grip, and that means the tyres are wearing really much faster than they did last year on the older surface.
Celia Martin is on a cracking opening spell in this race, getting stuck into here to James Cottingham's 59 United Autosports McLaren for 4th place. It is Lexus. Maxime Martin now aboard the Iron Lynx AMG. Should expect him to be making ground on James Cottingham and Celia Martin, but this pair having a cracking battle.
Yeah, she was looking to go around the outside there. That wasn't quite enough for a first-year driver in a championship. Celia Martin is really growing into this role in the Iron Dames car. She is their bronze driver. James is the bronze driver in the McLaren, but he's got an awful lot more racing experience, not just in this championship, but in all sorts of different cars. But Darren, she's got a great run going. Don't cut away. It's about to happen.
It's the precision that she's had. Every time we've been on board, it's like nailing every apex. Great line, and obviously at this moment trying to outfox the McLaren ahead. But she's putting the car in the right place every time. It's great to see.
So we've got Lexus 1-2 at the moment. Iron Lynx, the 61 Mercedes, in 3rd, and that's Maxime Martin now, who's taken over from Martin Berry, the starting driver. James Cottingham 4th. And you're looking here at Celia Martin, the French driver, in 5th place. Flappy paddle gearbox on the Porsche, just checking her mirrors. It's had a good long look on that TV monitor behind that you can see rather than the rear-facing camera.
That's why, because the 83 car is there with the Toyota behind them. She's aware that this is risk and opportunity.
Yeah, not too far ahead of Tony McIntosh in the number 10 Aston either, so they don't want to get held up or eased offline. Toyota doesn't get the best of that, but actually honours even pretty much with the 83 Ferrari. So Phil Hansen ahead of Brendan Hartley, and it wasn't quite the opportunity that Celia Martin had hoped for, but she's still right there with James Cottingham.
But that was heads-up stuff, Darren. She put herself in a position where she could have taken an opportunity had Cottingham had to lift around that traffic.
Yeah, like I said, every time you go on board with Celia, she's just putting the car in the right place. It's great to see that, like, the racecraft is there, trying to get underneath James now, trying to get the overlap before they get onto the braking. But this move is here right this moment, so great. Just needs to get it turned in. Hopefully James can't then attack again on the way through, but that looks like the deal's done. Although just a bit too early on the gas, and now we'll be in full defence mode on the way down to turn 4.
Yeah. She went full Marco Sorensen down the inside there, picked up 4th place. And looks like Cottingham's, well, he's not going to get the opportunity, is he? Because the number 7 Toyota comes down the inside. Number 7 Toyota now up to 13th place.
That's a lovely move, like absolutely textbook. Just run a bit wide on the apex, but it's okay at that point because the move's done, and just needed to make sure he got that rotation through turn 2 and a good exit. But there was a bit of a slide, maybe just a bit too much gas on that first bit on the way out of turn 2.
Yeah, busy hands there.
Ricky Perra there celebrating with the Iron Dames in the Montai pits. This is from the rear view camera on the number 95 car. This is the... Who's aboard that one at the moment?
Augusto Farfus in 31 at the moment. He's piling the pressure on Darren Leung, and it goes through on the inside. And Leung under pressure now, right behind from Nico Varone. Tom Van Rompuy, rather. What am I talking about? That was last year. 81. Tom Van Rompuy in the Corvette. So, yeah, what happens with the 31 car is they put their star driver in, their platinum driver, to work themselves up to get some track position.
Same in the 46, Kelvin van der Linde. It's been a single stint only for the bronze drivers of the 2 BMWs. So they're pushing on here, trying to grab back track position, trying to push the envelope here for the BMWs that have been a little off the pace here this weekend. 2 very different approaches to the race.
Down the inside comes Van Rompuy. Does he get by Darren Leung? He does not, but he showed his nose. Don't forget, that's what we saw from Celia Martin for a couple of laps when she was attacking James Cottingham for 4th. And in the end, she worked out how to get the best out of it. Another one of the corners you identified, Darren. Turn 12, that's the secret to a turn 1 pass.
It all starts there. In fact, you want to try and outmaneuver someone in turn 12. Just put them offline a little bit so they go defensive. Then before the actual corner, you go for the normal racing line to get a good exit, and then hopefully that just puts you in a good position as you approach turn 1. But the problem at the moment now for the pro drivers who have swapped in to take over from the bronzes out on the LMGT3 is they've got to get past these bronzes quick. And this circuit, you don't have to do much to sort of manoeuvre the car to be in a fairly defensive moment. Even now with Darren, he's just run a little bit wide, but there's nothing that the Corvette can do at that point. But here we go, we're trying to just get underneath and out-position him. And like this point, get him out of position for this corner, down turn 11, and then try and get him out of position again for turn 12.
It's those right-hand turns up over the brow at 6 and 7 and at turn 10 that can be so deceptive. You close under braking before the other guy gets on the throttle, and then he eases away again. So Tom Ferrier there, you saw closest to the camera with the headset on, watching the action. That's the TF of TF Sport. Another former racing driver who became a team manager. There's a United team watching in the garage as well. Here's Van Rompuy down the inside. He's going to follow the Peugeot through. And there's the opportunity that quicker traffic offers. Just keeps your rival offline.
Yeah, Johnny Edgar and Ben Keating in the background there in the sister 33 car. Ebb and flow here in LMGT3. We've said it over the last half a season or so. LMGT3 really now maturing and coming into its own, finding its feet in this still relatively new 2-car FI World Endurance Championship format. 2-class, myself, but 2-car would be a problem.
Looking at 46 BMW, Kelvin van der Linde, but here's the Corvette pass.
And just using that Peugeot hypercar just to help the situation. And at this point, Darren's like, okay, the car's overtaken, but I'm not actually racing this guy myself. You know, it's my stint. I've just got to do the best stint I can before handing over to my teammates. So there's a point of don't defend too much because you just can now follow, and that should increase your pace as well. So his actual average at this point can improve.
Now change of position as well. I think WRT's Kelvin van der Linde has just gone by Darren Leung as well. If you're enjoying the action from this race, don't forget Le Mans 4 times as long, and the full race build-up and aftermath is available on what is a brand new YouTube channel, 24 du Mans, 24 Heures du Mans, for those Anglophiles among you. Race highlights as well, and lots of other action to be seen on the 24 Hours of Le Mans YouTube channel.
Battle for 5th here with the lapped Aston Martin also in the mix. So it is the number 6 trying to go into terms for the 93. Valkyrie again getting great drive there, looking to unlap himself from this Porsche.
He's not, he's just looking to have fun. He's got his sleeves rolled up mentally from about Wednesday, and it's coming in off quite a long run up behind that car. So Harry Tincknell now at the wheel of 007. Marco Sorensen in 8th place in 009. And here is 2 cars ahead of him. Laurens Vanthoor in the number 6 Porsche.
Celia Martin has gapped the car behind now, is making her way forward. This is Cecilia, I think. No, Petru Umberescu still leading. He's the bronze driver in the 87 car, isn't he?
Yep.
Yes, he is. So he's the leading bronze driver. Then it's Celia Martin in 4th, with Silveranka Fingersits in 2nd and Maxime Martin, platinum driver, in 3rd.
On board with, this is for position with the number 6 Porsche. In front is Mikkel Jensen, 93 Peugeot. And Porsche making no impression here out of turn 12. Not able to close the gap to the Peugeot. So he's going to have to find another way of doing it. And Darren, this is always a long game in this. I mean, endurance racing, yes, obviously the race is going a long while, but it's never catch and pass, or very rarely. You have to work at it. You have to keep chiseling away and try and find a way of getting closer before you can even think about making a pass.
The thing with the pass is the risk factor. You know, if you damage your car and you've got to then carry it on for the next 4 hours, you've undone all the hard work. I'm just looking at the 007. It's the first car, from what I can see, that's actually now tried the hard right rear, and it's a new set for Harry Tincknell. So it'll be interesting, and I'm sure all the other teams will also be looking to see what that performance is like.
Somebody's gone off down at Curva de Sol, and it's number 10 car, and that is the car that started on pole. Tony McIntosh in for a double stint. Now, he may have been distracted by traffic. He may have been just with another issue, but that's losing a place to 77. Okay, in traffic, it is Augusto Farfus going around the outside. Darren, you're a driver. Oh.
He's lucky with that next bit. Yeah, I sort of. It looked like he was having another stab at trying to take the position back. And at this point, it's like, just keep your head down and follow Augusto through, and just keep with his pace. So, yeah, one of those sort of positions where you probably didn't need to make that move at that point in the race, because he's done such a great job in the first stint. So just carry on and build on that for the next teammates.
We talked about it with Darren Leung. The bronze's job is not to lose time, isn't it? To try and just keep your nose clean.
I think we're about to see exactly that, by the way, with the lead of the Race LM GT3. Fingersits has caught Petra Umberescu for the lead. 87 leads, 78 is catching, and I think we're going to see that switcheroo.
Now let's hear from the number 6 Porsche, Laurens Vanthoor.
He's starting to struggle also. It will come to us. We can stabilize the car with the bar. We can go more stable with bars and compensate with yellow Charlie.
We have no references to Charlie in this broadcast, thank you very much. So this is a setting on the traction control, but also talking about the adjustable anti-roll bars, and this is all about mitigating tyre wear, isn't it, Darren? They're on the second stint of these tyres. Track temperatures are, well, more than 10 degrees Celsius higher than they were in free practice on Friday. So it's a very different racetrack. It's more rubbered in, the grip level is higher. There's a lot of debris offline, not car debris, but rubber debris. So it's a very different kettle of fish from free practice.
The circuit's alive, isn't it? And it's changing throughout, and having those tools within the car to make adjustments to try and keep that balance and keep the car in a sort of a state that is easy to drive is key, and it's only possible with the tool set you've got. So any help from the engineers that can say, hey, actually, why don't you think of this? If you've got this problem, think of this, and it might help you at this situation. And it is about looking after the tyres, especially, like you say, the drivers that are double stinting this early in the race.
Mikkel Jensen now starting to feel the pressure a little more from Laurens Vanthoor. We're on board with the Belgian driver. Oh, and a rotation from the championship leaders. That's the 92 Porsche. Ryan Hardwick, another of the bronze drivers who started the race. And they say he's just gone into turn 12 a little too hot and looped it around. Again, second stint on this new hard Goodyear tyre. Oh, number 8 Toyota was on the dirt there as well. That looks like a misunderstanding in traffic.
Yeah, certainly turn 11 isn't the normal place to lose it. Turn 12, you could easily lose it, but turn 11 down the hill, it's unless you're really at the end of what your tyre can give you, it should be a fairly easy corner. So I would guess there must have been some sort of contact.
Well, Graham, you signalled this battle. Finn Gerzit's now ahead with the white highlights on the Lexus of Petru Umbrarescu. And again, Umbrarescu's job is to lap as quickly as it. That sounds like a silly thing to say, but it's not to try and win the race in this stint. It's try to lap quickly.
Here's the two Corvettes and the 33 up the inside of the McLaren. They're hunting in pairs as well. Yeah, about the Lexus, absolutely right. It's a completely different strategy between the two Lexus. They've switched to the silver rank driver for the 87. There is no point in holding that up. This potentially one of the best results we've seen from the team in their 2 years here. This, though, is the battle to watch at the moment in hypercar. Number 6 of Laurens Vanthoor trying to get onto terms with Mikkel Jensen. Jensen having nothing of it. We'll point out as well, though, to keep an eye on the lead battle, because Earl Bamber is beginning to carve into the advantage of Julian Andlauer. That gap now under 7.2 seconds and coming down sector by sector.
Yeah, we're starting to see now the difference in how the cars, how lightly or otherwise they tread on their tyres as this second stint continues. Mikkel Jensen start to feel he's maybe fighting a bit of a rearguard action out here against Laurens Vanthoor. He shall not pass. Vanthoor looks like he's got grip to spare. Cutting in tight as they start to climb the hill. Darren, he's not maybe close enough just yet.
Depends on this toe, doesn't it, how effective it is, and if he can just do a Marco move into turn 1 and just get it full send, but without the risk. That's the thing, and then there's a bit of defence there well from the Peugeot on the way in, but this is the point. You just need to get it nice and clean, get it turned, and just get the exit out turn 2 to sort of keep away any attack into turn 4.
That Aston Martin behind him is not for position. That was 007 Aston of Harry Tincknell. This is for position, though, for 8th place. This is a proper race. Marco Sorensen with the remaining Alpine of Fred Makovici, because 15 has not left the garage, and I think probably won't now. So I wonder what the driver behind gets from the exhausts of that V12 engine Aston Martin. The audience certainly get a very good soundtrack. Driver behind's probably a little bit deafened by his own car, but Fred Makovici closing down, 1500s, 1600s, quicker than the Aston on each of the last 2 laps in the 36 Alpine.
And both of these cars are a double stint in that first set of tyres. 36 ran with its qualifying set, and the 9 ran with a brand new set at the beginning of the race. So you'd say there's a slight advantage for the Aston at this point in terms of tyre wear.
Again, back with Mikkel Jensen, Laurens Vanthoor. The string of elastic between them is getting shorter and shorter. But again, Jensen seems to be able just to make enough of a gap at the beginning of the pit straight.
It's just that car positioning. It's slightly off the right-hand side, just sort of sitting nearly in the middle. It just means that anyone who's going to commit, you really have to come across and dive down the inside. It's a sort of a not very aggressive defence mode, but it's sort of just saying where your intentions are.
Well, we're looking at the battle for position, yeah, 88 and 92. Stefano Gattuso and Ryan Hardwick, again, both bronze drivers. That turquoise Porsche is the championship leader. Hearing from the pit lane, actually, from Bruce Schwanny, that the plan is for the 35 Alpine to rejoin once they've fixed what ails it.
Well, that'll be good mileage for the team. It's a long way from home here for the rest of the season. And getting an understanding on what's befallen the car. Should explain to anybody that missed the dramas. The car came onto pit lane. It was a red car. The red light in the windscreen of the 35 Alpine, which says effectively the high voltage system is not safe. So the car eventually was got to the garage after intervention was allowed, and they look like they're going to rejoin the other hypercar. We're keeping an eye on this battle as I'm talking about this. that had problems was a braking problem for the number 15 car. They sit 17th after taking 27 minutes on pit lane to fix that, and they are, as a result, what is that, 17 laps down.
When you get close, you can answer little calls to show we get past quickly.
Now, such has been the pace of the leaders that everybody apart from the top 9 is a lap off the lead. So 10th place, Phil Hansen in the Le Mans winning 83 AF Corsa Ferrari, the yellow one. They're a lap behind the leaders. Miguel Molina being passed quite comfortably there by the caddy.
Yep, and that is putting a lap on the 50 from the caddy that's now ahead on track.
This is going to be a long, tough race for 50 and 51, just to get even 1 point here.
A couple of cars, by the way, under investigation for overtaking beyond track limits, both at turn 3. It's Fred Mako in the 36 car. That happened at 12:40, 20 minutes ago. And a minute later, James Collado, same offence, or potential offence, same place.
I think it's always that same manoeuvre, isn't it? They're going around the outside of a GT car, and then GT car not being aware that they're there, and then being just pushed off over the top of the curb. And we saw it earlier on with the Ford, I think it was around turn 8 or something, and basically the Ford run it out, the Porsche 99 out onto the grass. Now, there's not been a mention of that, because at that point it just looks like, well, you've taken the damage and you're on the grass, but it's a very similar situation. But at turn 3, obviously there's track limits there that they can use.
Also, Darren, under investigation is that clash we saw between Tony McIntosh and Augusto Farfus, turn 4, just a few minutes ago. It's not a surprise they're taking a look at that. So Julian Lanzauer leads just by 6.4 seconds now from Earl Bamber. Will Stevens 11 seconds further back after that drive-through penalty for the number 12 Cadillac. Then the 2 Peugeots still there, though 21 seconds back though at the rail now from the second of the caddies. Mikkel Jensen 7.7 seconds back from that, the 94, the 93 respectively. Top 5 then, Porsche, Cadillac, Cadillac, Peugeot, Peugeot.
Now let's catch up with the Alpine team. We talked about Ferdy Habsburg's car coming in with that hybrid issue. They are hoping to fix it and send the car back out. Let's catch up with them and Bruce Schwani.
I am with Ferdinand Habsburg, driver of the number 35 Alpine. Ferdinand, can you exactly take us through what happened?
You mean with this situation?
Yeah, with that situation.
Yeah, we had a slight issue with the hybrid. So as you can hear, we're about to start up again to try to get it out on track. But you know, the systems are complicated in these cars, and we had an issue in pre-practice already that we thought we'd fix, but clearly not quite, and it's a bit concerning. So we're going to try to get out and fix it because we still have a few races overseas.
One question: I saw you jump out of the car and do a big jump. Can you explain why you have to do that?
It's because when the battery has a leak or an issue, you're not completely sure if it's an insecure channel, because it's unsafe to touch the floor in the car at the same time. For safety measure, even though I'm sure it would have been fine, which is gazelle jump at school. And this basically makes absolutely sure that the driver is safe, and you just follow the procedures in these situations for safety.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, but I hope you can still learn something with Paul Lou at the wheel.
You will do a great job, I know you will, so thank you very much.
Thanks.
Well, while all that was happening, you saw a little bit of contact, nose to tail, between Mikkel Jensen's Peugeot and Lawrence Vantor's Porsche. And now here's a battle for position behind them as well. 009, Marco Sorensen in the Aston, and Fred Makovici in that 36 Alpine. And so Makovici, you can see the ebb and flow in traffic there, gaining a little, losing a little, sector to sector. Maybe that's just a difference in the way that the cars produce their lap time.
These guys have been going at it hard now for about 4 or 5 laps, haven't they? But Fred hasn't been able to find a way past Marco at this stage, but it does look like the Alpine's just got a bit more of an advantage, and I guess he's looking to try and use a bit of traffic to to open a can and get down the inside.
Yeah, Mikkel Jensen in the white Peugeot under real pressure now from Laurens Vanthoor. Vanthoor sort of had a little bit of an overlap there, but look how much Harry Tincknell in the 007 Aston Martin has closed on them. He is not on the lead lap, but the speed of the cars in front has allowed him to close up because they are down as they battle, neither of them on the ideal fastest racing line, so they're both a little bit slower than the Aston behind.
Yeah, there's that normal thing with one car sort of defending, and it's just going to slow the lap down. That's given Harry a chance to sort of close in on them. But this is a replay of the incident. Just a bit of a sort of late braking lock-up as well. Lucky he didn't spin the Peugeot around at that point as well. But it's only a light tap, so and certainly not intentional.
And actually in a straight line as well. If the Peugeot had been starting to turn, that might have been a very different kettle of fish. And again, he went the long way round the outside, high, wide and handsome. Couldn't quite maintain that overlap. You sort of sense it's a matter of time, though, don't you, before the Porsche gets by?
Yeah, you do, and it might be right about now. So let's see if he gets a run now and to turn one.
I was just wondering how far we are from the next set of pit stops. We're basically halfway through this stint. It's going to be a long 20 minutes for Mikkel Jensen.
Next to Kevin S, driver of the number 6 Porsche Penske. We're looking at the battle right now. Can you comment what's happening?
Yeah, well, we seem to be stronger than the Peugeot on one lap. Have a bit more grip, they have a bit more degradation than us, but they have a better straight line speed, so very hard to pass. If he doesn't do a mistake, Jensen in front of us or traffic is going to be very difficult. Lawrence is trying everything. Of course, without trying to damage the car. It's still a long race, but we have to get by. We're losing quite a lot of ground to the front, but yeah, that's the way it is. Peugeot is strong in the straight, and they are using it, so we have to find a way.
Could you do an undercut?
Yeah, maybe, but you don't have much room to play on this race with a number of laps if you don't want to add a splash, so might be difficult. The warm-up is also not so easy, so we'll see. Might try something on strategy if we don't pass before that.
We're all watching that battle. Thank you, good luck.
Now, interesting, Darren, on the last stop, the 93 Peugeot that we're looking at here took fresh tyres on the right-hand side, but they were brand new. But the Porsche took 3 brand new tyres, right sides and the left rear. So the left front does nothing here, basically, very little. But the Porsche does have a tyre advantage, but they are starting to eat further into their tyre allocation than Peugeot is. So that
the front is locking too easy.
I didn't get that.
I didn't hear that either.
All right, so he's locking the front, Laurens Vanthoor is saying. Maybe that's why he ended up running into back. And maybe so that slightly older left front tyre is not helping him there.
But that interview with Kevin was just saying about the Peugeot straight line speed. It's actually the one thing you really want if you're in defence mode is actually if I can just keep getting the car turned, getting a good exit, it makes it very, very difficult for the car behind. And also at this point, the Porsche's been stuck behind the Peugeot for a number of laps now. It may have a tyre advantage, theoretically, but it's going away more dramatically than it is on the Peugeot. And you just saw then, you know, getting back on the power and having a bit of a wiggle on the way out. But this is look, here we go. Traffic played a part of that, and it gave the Porsche that slingshot around the outside and finally gets the move done.
Two quick changes to comment on. The 35 car has now rejoined the race after 57 minutes on pit lane. That hybrid issue we heard Ferdy Habsburg talking to Bruce about, and a new second place car in LMGT3 because Maxime Martin has caught and passed the previously race leading 87 Lexus. Either side they went, and it proved to be the right-hand side of the Lexus that was the better line.
Well, Darren, that allows him to keep up his momentum, doesn't it? Whereas Mikkel Jensen's trying to cut down the inside and then suddenly has to check up or hit the GT3 car. So.
Yeah, the door just closed by the Lexus. He's just taking his normal racing line, so it's not an issue for the lead GT3 car there to take his racing line. It's just outfoxed, and the Porsche obviously had the better line around the outside at that point.
Now, great little multiple battle here. You've got the TF Sport Corvette. That's Danny Juncadeo. So they've got their platinum driver in the first of those yellow cars. Then the bronze in the pink and white Iron Dames car, Celia Martin. Then Augusto Farfus with the Brazilian colours. And he is bringing up Kelvin van der Linde, the other WRT BMW, the 46 car, with him. And they're now right up behind the battle for what is actually third place, TF Sports Corvette, up into third.
Fourth.
Fourth, yes, I can't count.
Danny Juncadeo, Kelvin van der Linde and Augusto Farfus, all platinum drivers, and Celia Martin still in that mix. And the longer she stays there, guys, the better this is getting for the Iron Dames. The same, by the way, for Petru from Marescu is ahead of this battle. They're still the bronze drivers. They're getting deep, deep, deep into the drive time.
And the other Corvette, the 81 cars, we see the Cadillac going by the BMWs. The 81 car, Tom van Rompuy, their bronze driver, he's still in. Bronze drivers still in both of the McLarens. So as they're up against the platinum graded drivers in some of the other teams, they are dropping back in terms of position. But as long as they're not slowing down in terms of the lap times they're turning, then that will come back to them when the other cars have to put their bronzes back in. They will effectively be slower, and the higher graded drivers in these cars that have started their bronze drivers will make a difference again. So this always ebbs and flows when you see the bronze drivers getting out early rather than doing the full double or triple stint. Great looking livery on this BMW 31 car in full Brazilian colours, and with a Brazilian fired up behind the wheel, Augusto Farfus. Behind him, Kelvin van der Linde, another of the factory BMW superstars in the 46 car. So no further action for the 36 Alpine or the 51 Mercedes? Ferrari for overtaking beyond track limits, and more under investigation. That's Andrew Gilbert in the 60 Mercedes and Thomas Floor in the 54 Ferrari. Now they're battling for the honour of not being last in LMGT3. We didn't see the incident. Undoubtedly there was a little bit in traffic. Meanwhile, 21, Francois Heriot against Bernardo Souza. And again, the bronze drivers in the white-nosed Proton and in the silver Ferrari. So this is very much a battle of their peers.
Yeah, it's looking like a long afternoon at the moment for the LMGT3 Ferraris, as it is at the moment for the hypercar Ferraris. And again, adapting as best they can to this new Goodyear tyre. We're hearing from a couple of the Ferrari drivers, they're not as pleased, I don't think, with the new Goodyear on this track. As by the way, just keep an eye here, this is really nibbling at the back.
Having said that, Francois Heriot has a lot more grip at the moment than the front-engine Mustang in front of him with Bernardo Souza. I think it's going to be the second stint where the Ferrari that's gentler on its tyres, perhaps, is now starting to have those inroads. And don't forget that this is the car that is second in the championship and only lost the championship lead because the turquoise Porsche won at Le Mans. So these guys have had a very strong start to the season. They are carrying success ballast, which the Mustang isn't. They are a rear-engine car with a harder tyre, which has made it harder to switch on the front. But it looks like deep into the second stint, the Ferrari is a match for the front-engine Mustang.
It's a learning curve, isn't it, for everyone this weekend on the Goodyear hard tyre, just to see what the performance is. How do you turn it on? Is it going to be a benefit in the second stint, front engine, rear engine, etc., etc.? You know, how is that going to play out? And everyone is going through that learning process at this moment.
Yep, everybody on the hard tyre. There is only one option, and that is if it rains, you can use the wet. Hopefully that shouldn't be the case. No rain is forecast. And you're right, you know, it's one thing if you change the tyre and the track remains the same. It's another thing if you change the track and the tyre remains the same. But the basic fundamental law of engineering is never change two things at the same time or you get totally lost. And that's where everybody is. The track's been resurfaced since the last time we were here. So even the teams that raced here last year don't know what to expect. And it's a brand new tyre, so ditto.
The genius of this class is around the outside this time. Tries the 21 car. There's a bit of a kiss there to the rear of the car, and I think has made that bay.
Yeah, he's just about there and gets his nose in front. Good racing by both drivers.
Could there be two more different performance cars than the two you're looking up there? The Ferrari 296, the Ford Mustang, rear-engined V6 turbo, front-engined, big V8 normally aspirated car.
That's one of the joys, isn't it, of endurance racing, of sports car racing, is they all look different, they all sound different to each other. Contact between Vantor and Jensen at turn 12 being investigated.
That's the kiss to the rear, wasn't it? The Porsche on the Peugeot.
That was 42 minutes ago. That's how busy it is in race control.
We're pretty soon going to have to switch our focus to the race lead, by the way, because Earl Bamber up the inside, almost. Earl Bamber under 2 seconds behind the lead, but that was very tight. Came from absolutely miles back as well.
Great toe, and even now it's not done, is it? He can have another run down into turn 4 and just see if he can just be the last of the late breakers at that point.
And look behind, there's the 88 Mustang with the 92 Porsche looking to have a look, and behind 27 and 60 and 54. So these battles all outside the points at the moment, but predominantly these are the bronze graded drivers in these cars, so don't expect them to end up where they are now.
We'll stick with this battle. We're going to see that lead battle because they're catching this gaggle of battling GT3s. Yeah, big brush there.
Big handful of understeer on the Ferrari. That's
lucky not to lose one of the winglets on the front right of the Ferrari at that point.
Darren Leung's McLaren under investigation for tyre pressure issues. So there is a minimum mandated tyre pressure.
This is the race leaders in amongst these LMGT3s. That is Julien Anlauer. Right behind is Earl Bamber. It's going to be a matter of who can get into and out of this traffic the more quickly.
And Will Stevens in third place in the other caddy, the number 12 car, just set a purple first sector. So he's really intent on making this statement of trying to catch these guys despite that drive-through. This is 99 on 009. This is for 10th place. The final point grabbed by Nico Pino from Marco Sorensen in the Aston.
The final points for drivers' points, but not for the manufacturers, of course, because at the moment that 009, if it retains, it's actually just lost another position because the number 8 Toyota's just gone by the Aston Martin as well. Here comes the 38 car.
Yeah, you're right. 83 and 99 ahead of them do not count for manufacturers' points. They're in the FIA World Cup for privateer teams. So leaders around the Mustangs. That's going to break up these battles as well, isn't it?
You mentioned the number 12 car trying to claw back the time lost to that drive-through penalty. There's a wiggle there under braking from the 38 car. Will Stevens is absolutely pounding around at the moment. Under 7 seconds back. That gap was about 14 seconds at one point.
Yeah, he was 11 seconds behind Earl Bamber alone the last time I paid attention to it, which was probably half a dozen laps ago. So he is monstering up behind these guys. So
what do you think the gap would have been after the drive-through? 20 seconds, something like that?
It was something like that. So he's since then his pace has been punishing.
And he's the only guy in the 25s at the moment. There's not in any other hypercar, even in the 26. Oh, yeah, we've got one of the Alpines at the moment. But other than that, he's the only driver in the 25s.
Now, he has got a full, fresher set of tyres. They were the qualifying tyres, but he took on 4 as opposed to 2 for the number 5 Porsche and 2 for the 38 Caddy.
We're getting back into a pit stop cycle at the moment. The 94 Peugeot on pit lane, as is the 009 Aston Martin. Marcus Sorensen on pit lane, as is Loic Duval. Also, the cycle for the LMGT3s, including the 78. That should be... The 78, of course, was the leading car. Maxime Martin takes the lead. There we have it. That is where we are with energy. Still plenty of laps to go for a number of the leading runners here. So it's early on pit lane for the 94 and the 009.
Will Stevens, probably with another 2 or maybe 3 laps to go in third place. But you're right, Anlauer and Bamber. This battle might change positions for first and second. Look at them now, they're in clear air. They've got about half a lap before they catch any more traffic. So, and you can just see in the background, Will Stevens on the top of the brow there as he came out of turn 7. So, when he's on the straight, he can probably just about see them. That's your top 3. Let's hear from the leaders.
So Julien, nothing still to be done. They're slightly quicker. They might have better tires as well. You are doing well.
Yeah, Bob, you're good.
All right. let's catch up with the Aston Martin team. In 009 is Alex Riberas, which means there should be a very sweaty day down in the Aston Martin Harder Racing team. As we look at the challenge for the lead, let's hear from Marco Sorensen.
I am with Marco Sorensen that just jumped out of the 009 Aston Martin. How do you feel? Strong this weekend, but also sweating and tired.
Yeah, for sure. It's probably one of the hardest and most demanding tracks physically, this one. For some reason for us, it's obviously the tire deck here is very, very high. It's in the opposite direction, so you feel it a bit extra on the body, but yeah, I think we came out of the first couple of stints maybe a little bit too, let's say, too hot, and maybe used a little bit too much tire. So
we saw you were pushing hard.
Yeah, pushing very hard, but then yeah, that bit me in the ass a little bit in the end now of the second stint. So for sure, the last probably 10 laps, I was just praying to box basically. So I had no more tire. So yeah, it's a lesson learned obviously, but yeah, we gotta try at least to be in the game and fight up there. And it was enjoyable to actually be overtaking some of the other cars, which was nice. So we're improving slowly, but yeah, now we just have to keep on going.
Excellent. Thank you so much, and good luck for the end of the race.
Thank you.
The classic Sorensen there for the last 10 laps, was just praying for the stint to end.
But he was right, isn't he? They're learning. This is a brand new platform for them. They're learning what it will take, Darren, and he's learned something there. It can't take that much.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what this second half of the season is going to be about, isn't it, for the Aston Martin team, and just every race, first time here, against the competitors who have already been here with the championship coming back here last year. So yeah, they've got a lot to learn. Useful information, but they can still make an adjustment for the next stint with Alex. A bit of guidance there for Alex here. Try this, don't try and push in this area, and then obviously Marco gets a chance of going back out there and using those learnings to do a better job in the next stint that he's out on the track.
On board now with Earl Bamber, just 0.3 of a second behind the race leader, but coming herring up behind, but running out of energy because he stopped a little earlier, 3 laps earlier than the sister car, is Will Stevens. He's under 2 seconds. In fact, there he is, in fact. There's first, there's second, and we stick with this for a sec. There you go, there is third. So what is that? An hour and 51 minutes into this race, and with absolutely no full course interventions, and the top 3 under 2 seconds, team are ready for Will Stevens to hit pit lane.
Yeah, if you've got a pit stop coming up now, this is the time to box before being held up too much by the battle for the lead. You don't really want to get involved with that if you've got the pit stop coming in the next lap or two.
Yes, it's going to be the next lap, and this time it's looking for the lead. To the outside comes the Cadillac. Porsche using the GT car, but it's not going to work there, I don't think. Side by side again. Porsche muscles its way back ahead. It will still be there. Poor old McLaren being clattered either side almost, but this is a good run down to the next turn from the 38 car. 12 is right there and waiting as well. Slightly overdid it there.
Get underneath him at this point as well. Those curbs on the exit, they just really upset the traction of the car, and obviously Will's now back up to second position.
He's not going to be held up by this battle. Wants to get to and through pit lane as quickly as possible. It's a different strategy now because of that drive-through penalty. They've opted to put him slightly out of sequence with the sister car. 38 desperate to get back into the fight with the 5, and the 12 looking to get around the outside of the Porsche. He's the quicker car at the moment. Great moments, and I think he's going to do it here.
Back a swap of positions again for the Cadillacs at this point. But at this point, maybe just like get 38, just chill. Your moment's going to come. Let Will have an attack. You've had 4 or 5 laps of trying now, so let Will have a run at the Porsche.
Well, I think Will's going to be in this time. And coming to, it does indeed, he comes to the pits, and it'll be order restored at the front of the race. 4 hours and 7 minutes of this still to look forward to. Cracking stuff at the moment. Porsche, Cadillac. Behind that, Lance Van Toor having gone by the Peugeot.
And
he sits fourth.
That before with the McLaren in turn 1. You could just imagine being in the McLaren, looking at the mirrors and just all this going on around you, and trying to stay out of the way as well.
While we're watching this action again, Danny Juncadella comes to pit lane from the lead of the race. That will put, at this stage of the race, it is a Mustang 1-2. That's another view. Will Stevens of the lockup from Earl Bamber, trying to attack the race leader Julian Andlauer. This is the pit stop underway at Cadillac Hertz Team Jota. We thought they'd be strong. It's proven to be the case, and they've got pace deep into these stints as well, Darren, able to battle, close the gaps. What we've not yet seen is them go by that Porsche.
Not yet, but I don't think it's going to be too far away before that actually happens. Certainly the pace looks like Cadillac's got a slight advantage at this point of the race. At this stage. Back in traffic, trying to find the toe, trying to find the way through the LMGT3 traffic. He's catching. Is this going to be the opportunity? I think it is. He goes to the outside. He's going to try and get the switch back or just hang him out.
Got him.
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely perfect.
Great stuff.
Now it'll be interesting to see what the gap is, you know, if he can pull away at this point.
So, was he held up by the Porsche? We're about to find out. Still traffic to deal with in the manner of Celia Martin. It's actually Rahel Fry aboard the car now. They've made that switch after an epic opening double stint from Celia Martin. Through come the battling lead pair in Hypercar. Well, straight out of the sister car in the number 12 car, Will Stevens. He's going to be down on pit lane with Bruce Roney right now.
Well, I am with Will Stevens, driver of the Cadillac, number 12. Will just jumped out of the car. Great battle with the Porsche. How's the start of the race?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit more of a chaotic start to the race than I was hoping for. Obviously, we had a penalty for pressures being a bit low, so I think we just need to investigate what happened there and why that was the case. So it offset us with a drive-through and having to change tyres. So the fact we could finish the stint on the right on the tail of Earl and the Porsche, I think is a good sign. We've got a lot of pace in this car. We just need to try and have a clean race to the end. We know we have the speed. We just need to work our way to the front.
Yeah, I'm sure you will try hard. And Jota is always very good with strategy. So good luck.
Thank you, man. Should be all right. Thanks.
Well, he's up for the fight. These guys are up for the fight. Porsche are up for the fight. Who else wants to play this afternoon? So at the moment, this is just heating up nicely. We're not even a third of the way through this race. Gapping the Porsche at the moment, Earl Bamber. 1.6 seconds to the good. It is Porsche 2-3. But the gap between the 5 and the 6 car is a full minute. This is the battle for 9th place. That is not the battle for 9th place because the Alpine is further down, isn't it? This is the 7 Toyota. The 8 and the 7, by the way, in the top 10, both in point-scoring positions at the moment, doing what we've seen them doing throughout this season, just leapfrogging up as others falter, keeping their pace, keeping to their strategy, keeping to their plan, and very often picking up decent points along the way. So keeping an eye on the Toyotas. Brendan Hartley in the 8 car, ahead of the 7 car of Mike Conway. They're just a second apart on the road at the moment. There you can see the team car. There's another kiss against the 59 McLaren. They must feel like they're magnetic at the moment.
They've certainly been in plenty of action during this race so far already. So it's those little moments that can really damage the car, and then you lose that performance. It's just a little kiss here and there. And it's normally just no one's real fault. It's just both being on the same bit of tarmac and not knowing where each other are, really.
50 on pit lane. Nick Nielsen aboard the car now from Miguel Molina. And that car will rejoin from 14th place. Best placed of the Ferraris is again the number 83 of course of the privateer car, our Le Mans overall winner. And here comes the 50 car back into the fray. The sister factory car, by the way, the number 51 car, up into the top 10. James Collado ahead of Milty Jakobsen now aboard the number 94 Peugeot. Let's see what kind of pace he's got. Yeah, well, we saw already, didn't we? On pit lane now comes the Porsche. So long time chaser of the lead car. Laurens Vanthoor made his way back through a couple of battlers ahead. Is this the point at which we're going to see Kevin Estre released? It is indeed. Out gets Larry, Laurens Vanthoor. Big character in this pit lane. And, well, locked and loaded. The absolute weapon that is Kevin Estre. What are we going to see from him today? Good run from Laurens Vanthoor.
When you look at the lineup across the grid,
it's astonishing. I mean,
there's no weak links in any car, basically.
Any sports car fan, let alone a broadcaster and a sports car racing colleague, looking down the order, just reading down this list of the drivers that have been put into play here. What a delight it is to see this depth of talent, established talent, emerging talent. So away he goes. Car 60, by the way, 10 seconds added to the next pit stop for car 60. That is the AMG, currently in the hands of Lorcan Hannafin. That was an incident at 12:54. That would have been before Lorcan got aboard the car. I think it was Andrew Gilbert aboard the car at that stage. Turn 1, had a bit of a moment. Out comes the 6 car. There goes the 007. And pit lane as well.
Drone shot on the way out. It's just fantastic. But you can also see the energy that the drivers are having to try and put into the tyre and not lose control of it with the cold tyre as well. So yeah, it just gives you, it highlights exactly that first lap battle that they have with the car and the tyre temperatures.
10th place, United Autosports. McLaren is going to get a drive through. Robert Kubica, it is at the wheel of the 83. It's tyre pressure infringement. No further action. I think that's the correct decision in that kiss between the 6 and the 93. He described that with no intent there and certainly no harm done. It didn't appear either, Darren, with Laurens Vanthoor just kissing the back of the 93 Peugeot at that point.
I think, the penalties come when there's actually someone's made an advantage, but yeah, that sort of situation is just a little kiss. The car sort of moved on from the apex a little bit, but they both lost out, so yeah, why would you try and put a penalty in at that point?
Cadillac Hertz Team Jota lead this race right now. Ranzaville Bamba, he is now 6.5 seconds clear of this car, the hands of Julian Andlauer. Another battle on track though. This is the Iron Dames and TF Sport. Ben Keating under attack here from Rahul Fry. These two teams, back in the GTM days of the FI World Endurance Championship, regular battlers. The qualifying battles between Sarah Bovey and Ben Keating, a massive highlight of qualifying day. Big wiggle there, finding the grip. There's not quite enough for him.
It's such a difficult corner, turn 6, on the way up to turn 7. Long corner. It's not really like helping you with the camber through that point, and you can see all the cars just sort of working their way out to the left-hand side, and all of them have moments. But this is the point, like the car running wide, Corvette, Ben running a bit wide there, just out of position. So now getting the Iron Dames car sort of underneath it, this is critical to not be held up too much at this point of the race.
And look how much all of that was delaying the Peugeot trying to get through here. That's where a lot of these big gaps have been drawn through. It's been very busy out there for Hypercars LMGT3 traffic. And this is a good run here from Rahul Fry in the Iron Dames Porsche onto the back of Ben Keating's Corvette. Let's keep an eye on this one now, Darren.
Always there, Ben going to go at this point. He's defending reasonably hard, so making the Iron Dames go around the outside at this point. But this is about the point of trying to get them out sync, so trying to get underneath them to make them move across, and hopefully you get the momentum on the way out.
We'll keep an eye on that as we see the number 5 car, Julian Andlauer, on pit lane from second position. Long-time leader here, of course. We'll tell you as we watch this battle in LMGT3 that we've seen driver changes for both of the Lexus. It's a Lexus 1-2 again. But this is where that driver strategy has played out. The platinum driver now, Jose Maria Lopez, leads the race from Arnaud Raban in the 78 car. So they've cycled the bronze driver back in, but they're now in bronze time and dropping away from the sister car.
Yeah, still a number of the bronze drivers in. Martin Berry third, he's back in. Ben Keating back in. Rahul Fry, though, They have used their double drive time. There's contact between the 54 Ferrari and the 60 Mercedes. Now, they were running kind of last, not quite last, but Francesco Castellacci and Lorcan Hannafin are battling for position. Still outside the points. Leader in the pits, Earl Bamber, is out. So good opening stint from the caddy. Ran longer on fuel than the Porsche.
Well, they were slightly out of sequence. The 12 car came in for that drive-through penalty. Then they, I think at that point, opted, looking at the strategy, to pit him earlier.
That's the 38 car that came in from the lead. So they did run longer on fuel than number 5 car.
I was sorry, I thought we were talking about the two caddies. My apologies.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And Renault Rast in second place for BMW. Now, BMW, we've seen a number of times, can run longer on fuel than their rivals. Not enough to make a massive difference. So 4-tyre change, it looks like, for the number 5 Porsche. Looked again like that for the caddy. Now, maybe they're expecting temperatures to drop later and the track to be a little bit more benign to the tyre. But tyre changes at every stop are not going to be your friend.
No, it puts Jenson Button aboard the 38 car. Alex Lynn to the lead of the race in the 12, ahead of Michael Christensen in the number 5.
Now, Graham, you talked earlier about the fact, as we watch Rahal Frey again all over the back of Ben Keating for 4th, that the 35 Alpine had rejoined the race, and that is on right hard tyres. So they're using that as a test for what the 36 car might be able to do. Keating still under real pressure from the Iron Dames.
But
Porsche.
this is critical for the Iron Dames. This is the silver rank driver against the bronze. And this is where Rahal Frey's pace must pay. I'll correct myself, by the way, and I must keep doing that. It is a Cadillac 1-2. There is a peculiarity of the timing here that when you're on an outlap, it does score slightly differently. So it's Cadillac 1-2 now. Alex Lynn from Jenson Button. And here comes Rahal Frey. Can she get it done this time? Up the inside, looks like it's done this time. Does it neat and tidily? And that is a switch for 4th position. The Porsche now ahead of Ben Keating's TF Sport Corvette.
Full Sorensen send there, Darren Turner. Oh, and lots of smoke off the tyres. Or is it off the brakes? At the front of 99. It's coming out the vents as well, so the brakes are properly red hot.
It's mainly on, sorry, I was going to say it's mainly on the right-hand side, so maybe that's just a bit of rubber in the ducting or something like that. There's a little bit on the left as well, but at that point you sat in the car and you're just like, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's just try and get this cooled down. And
as it pulls away there, looks like a scene out of Ghostbusters, doesn't it? Fantastic stuff. Rahal Frey under pressure still. So 3 hours 54 minutes to go in this 6-hour Rolex 6 hours of Interlagos. Wonderful racing so far. Alex Lynn from Jenson Button, 15 seconds the gap. Michael Christensen, though, putting Jenson Button under pressure in this phase of the race. As we look behind from the Iron Dames, pulling away here from Ben Keating's 33 Corvette.
And Darren Turner, 2 hours has just gone in the blink of an eye, hasn't it? We're a third of the way through the race, and there's just so much going on still.
Like intense race so far, completely. But I sort of thought with this many cars, this sort of circuit layout, we may have had a full course yellow intervention at this point or something like that that would have just disturbed the race. But obviously everyone's keeping it fairly clean out there. There's only a little bit of contact here and there, but yeah, incredible race so far.
The voice of Darren Turner predicting the interruption of the race any second now. Curse of the first-time commentator. Actually, first time in 6 hours. He's doing a short race this time. He's joined us at Le Mans over the years. So 51 Ferrari, James Collado. Still no sign of a hard tyre being used on the Ferrari.
Watching as well, by the way, the I thought we saw a hard tyre coming off that Ferrari then at the moment. Still watching as the Ferraris start to slowly leapfrog their way up the order here. They're having a sort of race we've been used to seeing, gentlemen, from Toyota earlier in this season. Quick lap times coming, including from Robert Kubica. He's up into 8th now in the number 83 car. Remember, they're chasing not just the Hypercar World Cup points, but in particular the Drivers' World Championship points, where they sit second. And this is going pretty well for them at the moment.
Yeah, 83 in 8th place, 51 cars scoring 0 so far. So that would actually not quite change the championship lead, but would bring the 83 car even closer. Currently they are, I've got the wrong bit of paper here, 51 car, 105 points, 83 have got 89 points. So they need to basically beat the 51 at every race by a margin to be able to take the title.
Plenty of points to be earned, remember, including points and a half, if you like, 150% of points trouble for the 007, though. That is Harry Tinknell, and what's happened there, yellow flags at turn 6. You see that on the in-car marshalling system for Harry as he recovers the car, gets back on track. So what's gone on here? Up the inside, and that was a brush with the Ferrari.
Just got chopped on the apex on the way in there, so actually got away quite luckily at that point, because that could have been horrendous at that speed as well. Difficult though, because the Ferrari had obviously another hypercar underneath it at that point. Probably didn't see Harry coming up in the 007. So yeah, one of those pinch points as the cars turn in from the right-hand side of the track, from the left-hand side of the track into the apex, and obviously one of those areas that you really are a big speed difference between the hypercars and the GT cars.
Just over 2 hours into the Rolex 6 Hours of Sao Paulo. It is a Corvette. Cadillac 1-2. Alex Lynn from Jensen Button. Michael Christensen aboard this car, the number 5 Porsche. And we're looking back from the 38 Caddy at the number 5. We just got the view from Christensen of the car in front. So the gaps are tiny from second to third, 1.3 seconds. But Alex Lynn out front, 15 seconds clear at the moment. Number 7 Toyota. Car won the race last year from pole position. Nick de Vries sharing it with Mike Conway. And this car, as you can see, Rio Hirakawa in the number 8 car behind them. They're 14th and 15th. It's going to be a long way to get up into the top 10 before the end of this race. So they're chasing Antonio Giovinazzi, the 51 Air Corsa Ferrari. There he is. And he, in turn, is right behind 009, the Aston Martin of Alex Ribeira. So these are all for position. They're trying to catch the 009, which is in 12th place, but in 10th place in the points, because 2 cars ahead of them, 83 and 99, do not score manufacturer's points. Well, Julian Andlar started the race in Porsche number 5. With Bruce Schwanny down at Porsche Penske Motorsport. Let's catch up with him.
I am down in the pits with Julian Andlauer, driver of number 5 Porsche. It was 2 hours ago, but what a start.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, the start was pretty good. I warmed up as much as I could in the prep laps, and no, I could take the lead straight away. That was pretty good. Oh, there is a full course yellow. Sorry. And yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, the car felt great, but let's say on pure pace, I think we are a little bit down on the caddies at the moment, especially on degradation. The last few laps, they're really able to, to be faster than us, to survive a bit better. And as soon as we start sliding, we lose a lot of time there. As well as the track temp is a bit higher than what we experienced earlier in free practices. So yeah, hopefully the weather and everything will come a little bit our way, so we'll be able to fight for a better position. But yeah, still a long way to go. I fully believe on Michael to maybe grab a position now, and yeah, let's see what we can do.
I will come back to see you later to update on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Now, Bathurst, they get full course yellows for kangaroos. This is the first full course yellow for recovery of a kite that I have seen. I think that's what the streamer was. I think that was I think on the end of it, what the marshal had picked up and taken over the barrier. It is indeed a kite. Not the Flappy Bird type either. Darren Turner, the man who predicts full course yellows at will. Right, so we won't talk about that again.
I'll try not to mention anything. What are the things I meant to not mention about?
Yeah, okay. So interventions at turn 4 and at turn 12. And this is one of those moments where the race director, Eduardo Freitas, has got a couple of jobs on his to-do list. And when we trigger a full course yellow, right, you go and do this, you go and do that, you guys go and do the other. And so he's getting various different jobs done. A little bit of technical issue with my microphone as well. So we're going to have a little bit of a swap round in a moment. let's hear from the number 12 caddy, Alex Lynn.
And there will be intervention at T4 and T12, so Marshall on track at T4 and T12. Before the full course yellow, we were 15 seconds in front of Jensen, 15 seconds in front of Jensen, but Jensen is on 4 new tires, 4 new.
That's important information for drivers, that you know what you've got, but also you know what they've got. And we talked about this a little bit earlier, Darren. When you know the car behind you is on fresher rubber, you've got to try and blunt that advantage as much as you can, blocking.
Yeah, but also, knowing that information, it's like you're unlikely to be able to match the lap time. So you've suddenly gone, oh, all right, okay, I've got a 10-second gap, but it's closing down, and you didn't know that they were on a set of all new 4 tyres, you'd start to probably overdrive a little bit to try and find that extra bit of performance. But just knowing that, you're like, okay, that's their strategy, that's the tyre they're running, it makes sense that they're going to be closing down.
Yeah, and you're suddenly going, okay, I'm not being a muppet, I haven't forgotten how to drive. But genuinely, it's all about keeping that driver motivation alive, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, that sort of moment when you think, have I actually lost my capability of driving the car? And it can come and go during a race sort of thing. So having that information about your competitors and what their strategy is and what they're using as in the set of tyres at that moment really does make a big difference to knowing what your performance is.
No sign of this full course yellow being released just for the moment, so the housekeeping is going on. Okay, so 30 seconds, 25 seconds in fact for it to be released. And of course the teams will all be counting down their drivers. You can see the driver safety system on board repeats the flag signals at every marshal's post, slow zones. They can use that to warn you about track limits, they can tell you about penalties and so on. But here it'll be counting down the full course yellow with the team echoing the race director, and away we go, back to green flag racing. And that release, Darren, of the full course yellow, the speed limiter, can actually sometimes result in an overtake if you are close and quick enough.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're right behind someone and they're just a fraction later releasing the full course yellow button, and suddenly you can get an overlap, and that gives you the inside line for the next corner. So you've got to be on it, but you also need your engineer who's giving you that information and the countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that really makes a big difference. If you're out on track and you don't have radio communication and you're relying completely on what you see with the flag marshals or your system in the car, then it's unlikely you're going to be responding quickly enough.
We know how important the spotter is in oval racing, in IndyCar, and particularly in NASCAR, of course, but having your engineers telling you what's going on, and particularly in qualifying or free practice now, who's coming up fast behind you, and if you're in a GT car, you've got a queue of hypercars coming, watch your mirrors. That's all really important information that they see on the pit wall that they have to tell their drivers.
The one thing, you can have great engineers who are fantastic at getting the best out of the actual car, but the really good ones are the ones who are doing the race with you, and they sort of know the information that you need. You don't have to keep asking for it. It seems to come like that lap before you were thinking, I really need it. They've already thought it, they've got the information, and they're giving it to you.
Well, we can now add, can't we, a kite at Interlagos to the history book that says a cricket ball at Mexico City and a black cat in Bahrain.
Baseball.
Did I say cricket ball?
Yeah, you did.
I do apologise, Mexico.
Yeah, because
I know we've got the Brazilian Bob team here. That's excellent.
Yes,
the
exactly.
frozen bananas. But it's great. It was indeed a baseball at Mexico City.
So now then, back to the action. Corvette 1-2, and is that for position? Is that... No, that is one of the Toyotas being lapped by a Peugeot. Now there is a reversal of perceived form, isn't there? Harry Tincknell and Francesco Castellacci, that was the Ferrari that cut his nose off when the 007 Aston was going inside him down at turn 6. That will be looked at. Any contact between cars is always looked at, Darren, so may not necessarily mean there is a penalty coming, but stewards are duty-bound to make sure that they check out all of these little incidents.
And that'd be a really hard one to sort of call, basically. It was no one's real fault at that point. So, you know, I expect there not to be a penalty, but, you know, it depends how the stewards view it, really.
And again, that's where a good driver advisor with recent racing experience, particularly in the same sport, can be a big advantage. You know, you get a Grand Prix driver watching endurance racing, they may not have that same depth of knowledge. You get a driver advisor like Peter Dumbreck, who's raced sports cars since the 90s and flown them, then he's got a lot more knowledge of exactly what a car can and can't do in those situations.
I think Peter's aptitude as a driver advisor hugely helped by doing the T-run for this crew at Le Mans.
Was he quick?
No.
All right. Gone missing for a few hours type situation. I also think if you have a driver, steward, assistant, they need to have the experience of both GT and hypercar as well, or prototype, etc. Because you know, you speak to drivers who have only ever done one thing and they have a very strong opinion, but if you've got someone who's actually been in both types of cars, it gives you a bit more of a bigger picture view of the scenarios and situations that you can come across that really aren't as black and white as you expect them to be.
Yeah, and Peter, you know, LMP1 driver in the World Endurance Championship in the first year of the championship in the HPD.
Have we had the championship that long?
2012.
All right, that's enough buses for throwing Dumbreck under. There's the battle we were just looking at with the BMW, the 46 BMW, chasing down the 33 Corvette Ben Keating.
Kelvin van der Linde in a fabulous catalogue pose there.
That's full-on Burt Reynolds 1970s. I mean, that's the great thing, is you can see that the moment they're out of the car, and I don't know how this works as a driver. When you're in the car, that's all there is. When you're out of the car, it's almost like you don't even watch the race in a lot of cases.
I really got some good advice for the endurance race, like my first couple of goes at Le Mans, from David Brabham, which was basically, when you're not in the car, don't try and follow the race too much. Don't sit there with the engineers looking at all the timing and just looking and using your energy. Get away and relax. And obviously Kelvin was very relaxed at that point there, so he's obviously had a similar conversation with someone about making sure you're rested and ready to go again and next time you're out in the car.
Well, here is the 81 TF Sport Corvette, the Angolan driver Rui Andrade, closing right in, and behind him is the papaya and black of Sebastian Boe in the 59 United Autosports McLaren. So this is 6th, 7th and 8th, as close as you like. Covered by the proverbial pocket handkerchief as they came out of turn 3 down to Curva de Sol.
Good pace, Mannix Lynn in the lead of this race as we watch this LMGT3 battle. Good pace as well at the moment for Jenson Button, who's holding off Michael Christensen, just keeping an eye on the relative pace behind Christensen of Malte Jakobsen. At the moment, the Peugeot is dropping back a little. It's quite a big gap, 38 seconds. It's not coming down. If anything, it's going up a little.
Well, again, that might be just the ability to, or not even ability, the fortune of fighting away through traffic. 27, this is the Heart of Racing Aston Martin, the blue car. Zach Robichon now at the wheel, having taken over from Ian James. And behind him, Ben Tuck in the 77 Mustang. And that car that's the first time Ben's been in it. So Bernardo Souza drove it from the start, didn't he? So he did a double stint. What's the minimum drive time for a bronze driver in a 6-hour race? It's 1 hour and 45, or is it 2:15? Right. So they should all have done enough double duty. Great view from the drone up above of how little space there actually is. You think it's quite a wide track, but when you've got cars all trying to use the same bit of tarmac, less so the Corvette down the inside of the BMW. And so Sebastian Boe moves ahead of Ahmed Al-Hati.
So yeah, the 46 crew burning the remainder of their bronze time with Ahmed back in the car now.
And Al-Hati now with Sebastian Boe right behind him as well. So, sorry, that was Rui Andrade going by. Sebastian Boe in the McLaren now. He is going by down into turn 4, which is not Curva de Sol, it's Deserta de Lago.
As both yourself and Darren said earlier, Ahmed will be very aware his job here is keep his pace consistent, make no mistakes, take opportunities where they're offered, but no risk.
It's about getting the maximum out of the car, not necessarily track position.
There's the overtake again. Seems a whistle there, up for 6th place.
And Darren, he's done the right thing. If he fights these too much, then he might end up spinning out or whatever and just costing a huge amount of time.
Exactly that. You can see he didn't even bother trying to do a defensive move into turn 1 at that occasion. So, and even on the run down to turn 4, same thing. Just, okay, open the door, let these guys go quicker. I need to sit on their tail, minimise the loss over my stint. You know, it's always very easy to get sort of locked in a battle when it isn't actually your battle.
Yeah, depressing as a driver to be passed by 2 cars in a couple of corners, but stick with it.
In front of you on the car, but Ben Keating, this is your target.
And that's the message you need.
Find somebody behind.
Yeah, ignore the guys who just come by you. You are battling the other bronze. You can see there, 5th place, 33, Ben Keating, Ahmad in 8th place, but the distance between them, he's got visual. There you can see the first of the yellow cars, that's Ben Keating. He knows where his target is. It's a battle of bronze on bronze, and that's what you have to focus on. Ignore the other stuff going by you, might as well be hypercars. They're not your battle. They're somebody else's battle later on.
Focus and motivation, as well as that consistency, and that's smart work from the pit wall there. Whatever we say in the booth here, having cars go powering by you, whether or not it's got a bronze, a silver, a gold or a platinum in, that's not going to do wonders for his motivation. He needs to be given that target. He needs to be given that task. And now Ahmed Al-Hati is fully well aware the task he's got is not the Corvette that's just gone by him, it's the Corvette he's trying to catch.
Meanwhile, here's our race leader, Alex Lynn, the man who put the number 12 Cadillac on pole position in the hyperpole session. And again, out of sync with some of their rivals. 38 car stopped later, number 5 car stopped a whisker later. So you can see there's a few cars now with just over half of their stint already run. Hurst Team Jota, 1st and 2nd here in the Rolex 6 Hours of Sao Paulo. We're at the stunning Interlagos on what is a bright and sunny winter's afternoon here in Brazil. Second half of the season of the FIA World Endurance Championship. This is race 5 of 8. So we've had a couple of longer races, obviously Le Mans being the longest of them. 10 hours in Qatar. We'll finish with 8 hours in Bahrain, 6 hours here and in Kota and in Fuji. And at the moment, the Cadillacs are just under 10 seconds apart. Jenson Button in 2nd place. And behind him now, 1.8, 1.9 seconds back is Michael Christensen's Porsche. As we come back on board with Alex Lynn. He's got what drivers like to see, which is a bit of clear track in front of him. And it's not that it means he doesn't have to worry about overtaking, but also, Darren, it means that this is a clear lap to try and build a bit more gap.
Yeah, take advantage of that clear lap, hoping that your competitors are sort of tucked up in some battle with some other GT car in the midfield sort of thing. On the lap before on board, it looked a bit of a handful in the Cadillac down the hill, and looking at the laps that Alex has got on his set of tyres at the moment, they're into the 60 laps already, so you can understand at this point in the race that he's having to really manage the performance of that tyre, and you can see why at the wheel it's becoming a bit of a handful.
Look at all the front-running cars have sort of moved away from any thought of using the harder tyre. The Aston Martin, the Alpines are still experimenting with them.
Yeah, remember, Jenson is on 4 new tires, Jenson 4 new.
And that's, don't worry about the fact that the guys behind you are catching, because you have got older tyres. It will come back to us. Now, Jenson's got 4 new mediums. Alex had qualifying tyres on the right-hand side, so they'd been used before. So he's got a little less grip on the hard-worked right-hand side, but it is only a handful of laps. So, as we see now, a position change potentially coming up. Ben Keating, the first of these 2 Corvettes, the one with more black on the roof. That's 81, that's Rui Andrade. He's our sole Angolan driver in the field.
I think our sole African driver in the field.
And the first Angolan driver to stand on the World Championship podium in any motorsport, I believe. So he'll go by Ben Keating as soon as he can, because he's losing ground to the cars in front. Behind Dames Ryle Fry is the next target. She's in 4th place as this Corvette battle for 5th continues. And the other thing, of course, is the more he gets held up by Ben Keating, the closer that orange and black McLaren of Sebastian Bode is getting to his back bumper. And with him comes Amanel Harty, excuse me, and Eduardo Barrichello as well.
Yeah, Eduardo Barrichello closing in on Amanel Harty. In trouble here for the 88.
Yeah, what's happened to Gianmarco Leverato's Mustang? He'd lost a lap. And here comes the pass, Ruri Andrade down the inside. Door left open by Ben Keating and slammed shut as soon as his teammate had gone by, because he knows the danger of having that McLaren behind him.
Keeping an eye on a couple of the other battles. Oh, there was a touch there, and a big one.
Now, what came off? Was it something off the McLaren, something off the Corvette,
No,
or
I think
something
it might
off
have been
the
some of the
Ferrari?
Ferrari. I think it was the Ferrari. I think it's the rear right bodywork of the Ferrari.
Or is it? No, it doesn't look like it was the McLaren. One of the problems we were talking about trying to leapfrog along the queue with the hypercars. We saw this at Spa last year with Earl Bamber catching the BMW of Sean Gelael. Is although the hypercar, you're not really cab forward, you know, like a 1980s Grand Prix car, they're a long old car behind you. Let's take a look from above.
Yeah, it was rear bodywork on the Ferrari.
We lost something on the rear right. The Corvette, he turned out on this.
Copy, we're checking.
Well, you don't need to check it, we saw it on the TV. And actually that was Ben Keating moving over to try and defend against the McLaren, I think.
Yeah, that's the 9th place car, sorry Darren.
I was going to say, yeah, he did come across a little bit on the left, but also the Ferrari did sort of move slightly to the right at the same time. So nothing intentional at all there from either of them, but let's see if that bit of bodywork that's been lost from the Ferrari causes them any lap time deficit.
Last year racing a BMW, this year racing a McLaren on the inside. In fact, it's not, it's Yasser Shaheen who wasn't, he was in a Porsche last year, down the inside of the BMW. Sean Gelael, the United Auto Sports. McLaren squeezes through. He was in a BMW. He was in the 31 car last year. In fact, has just passed the car that he was in. Yasser Shaheen was in a Porsche and is now in the 31 BMW. So all sorts of little changes of team and knowledge going on.
And Ricky Perra catching this pair as well in the number 92 Porsche, making his way back up the order.
And this is on the fringes of the top 10 now, so Sean Gelael in the McLaren is in 10th place, final points paying position, as we're 2.5 hours into the 6 hours. And behind him, you've got the 31 BMW and the 92 Porsche. Again, this is Ben Keating in the 33 Corvette, Sebastian Bode right behind, then Amanel Harty in 46, and then Eduardo Barrichello has closed in behind them as well. There he is in 9th place. Let's catch up with the Proton Competition Mustang team.
I am next to Gianmarco Levorato, driver of the 88 Mustang. Really strong start of the race. The level of performance was really high, and there you were in the mix. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, we're just trying to figure out. There is something with some issue with the front damper. Really disappointed because, yes, the car was really strong. My teammate Stefano did a great job at the start, recovering a lot of position. I mean, the pace was really good. Before we had an issue before the driver change with the energy sensor, so we already lost a lap. But yeah, just some bad luck, honestly. The car was good, and I have to say thank you for Ford, Multimatic, and the team Proton, because they did a great job anyway.
Okay, thank you very much, and sorry for you.
Thank you.
Body language of Dennis Olsen on his phone in the background did not look encouraging, I'm afraid. That might be our first retirement of the race. Full course yellow. That might be to recover the errant bit of Ferrari, actually.
Are we checking? There definitely was a bit of errant Ferrari. Quite a big chunk as well at that, which leaves the question, will the Ferrari team choose to pit, or will they be told to pit to repair that damage?
Now that would be force majeure, pit lane is closed under full course yellow for fueling.
That's changed, by the way, looking at on screen. Eduardo Barrichello ahead of Ahmed Al-Hati just as we came into full course yellow. So that puts the 10 car up into 8th place.
Let's hope it was just before we came into full course yellow.
We'll give you the benefit of that doubt.
But again, you know, that's the difference perhaps between a bronze and a gold driver decelerating down to 80 kilometres an hour. It is indeed a bit of something that's being recovered.
I think that is it's the right-hand side, the rear of the wheel cover.
Yep.
I think if we got a shot of the rear of the Ferrari, it would be very plain to see.
Now here's a battle for position. We're with Rahel Frey, 99 Porsche hypercar just in front. And obviously his 80 kilometres is a little quicker than the Mercedes 80 kilometres because he's tried to figure out how not to run into him and not to be caught out as well as if we go green now. And Darren, actually, this is really important because they don't know when we're going to go back to green necessarily until they start to get a countdown. So you need to look at positioning yourself ready to go and not be stuck behind a slower car.
Yeah, but if I was in the hypercar, I wouldn't be sitting on the tail of the GT car. I would always be either fully left or fully right, just to make sure when I do release that button that it's a clean acceleration.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full course yellow removed.
Right, so Rahel Frey really gets on the gas. That's what I was waiting to see. If she made a better restart than Martin Berry, she does, and she's gone by the Mercedes. She's got the inside line. Berry's not going to be able to defend that. And behind you can see Porsche versus Ferrari as well. That was not for position. But that was a really good restart from Rahel Frey. And Martin Berry not quite as quick. And it may just be, again, we're hearing the race director. They're not. They're only hearing their team. Their team may not have kind of anticipated it as accurately for Martin Berry.
Well, the other thing to say here is Rahel Frey is the silver rank driver. Confirmation car 50 will have to come in and repair that damage. She is far more experienced driver than Martin Berry. She'll have been ready and on the trigger for that.
And also, you know, asking the team just to make sure that there's not 0-0, you know, any pause, but to anticipate the countdown getting down to 0 so that she's bang right on the money.
I can imagine that was the easiest overtake of this whole race. Yes. For anyone. All on a button.
Yep, absolutely. So Ben Keating down in 7th place now in the 33 Corvette. Eduardo Barrichello behind him. There's the 46 car of Ahmed Al-Hati. He's in 9th. Back to green flag racing in Sao Paulo after a second short full course yellow. And the number 50 Ferrari has been told by the organisers that they will have to come back in. Now then, Martin Berry, we've just seen him passed by Rahel Frey. There might be more bad news coming to the 61 Iron Lynx Mercedes because he's under investigation for full course yellow procedures.
For the second time. There are 2 investigations, Martin Berry, full course yellow procedures, listed in our live inbox at Race Control, should we call it that way. So the 61 car running very strongly at the moment. It's up in 4th place with Martin, but 2 potential issues coming their way. We'll keep an eye on that one.
Looking at the 2 Ferraris, 21 Simon Mann, 54 Francesco Castellacci, and that is a gold driver, a silver driver rather, versus a gold driver. And here is Eduardo Barrichello, and he's just moved up ahead of Ben Keating. So Barrichello on a real charge, man who claimed pole position at home, as we heard when he was on the grid, lives just 20 minutes away from here. So there are home tracks and there are home tracks. This is about as home as it gets.
Keep an eye on here. This is the number 10 going for that position. He's got the better run. Ben coming off the curb and up around the outside to take that position. Car 50 now gets the black and orange flag. That's the final warning. Must come in, must repair.
Absolutely. And don't forget, if you are enjoying the action live, you can watch the races of this season back on the FIA WC YouTube site, and also behind the scenes with our full access crew. They're out and about here this weekend, getting all the action from behind the scenes, inside the garage with the drivers and the teams. And full access from Le Mans, a full 60 minutes of behind-the-scenes coverage is out on YouTube now. It was dropped on Monday, and don't forget that the full access from this program will be out shortly before we go to Austin, Texas, and that'll be on the 22nd of August. So lots and lots of high tension, high drama and high emotion from Le Mans captured by our crew behind the scenes.
54 and 21, the two Vista of Corsa 296 GT3s battling away, the two silver drivers, Francesco Castellacci in the 54, Summer Man in the 21, battling away there. As far as the battles at the lead of the field are concerned, Michael Christensen beginning now to edge back into contention with Jenson Button. We heard a little earlier 4 new tyres for Jenson in the 38 car that sits second. He's 12 seconds back from Alex Lynn in the leading number 12 car. Festival atmosphere here. That's the first shot we've got of the damage, and that is pretty significant damage to the rear of that car.
But it shouldn't take long. Look, the splitter is still there. It's basically the rear body panel, so that should be a lift off and replace.
It's not just the splitter, it's part of the diffuser as well.
Right, so this is Ben Keating. That was Ben Keating moving into the Ferrari rather than the other way around, as I see it. But yeah, they're going to have to take that back. Or are they? No, it's the entire rear section goes on as one piece. And the reason it's taken them longer to do that is that because the car's in the pits, the first thing you do, Darren, is fuel. Correct. And now they're kicking the bits on. Darren feels like he passed the test, man. Of course. It's so second nature that you then start to question what does he think? What are you thinking? So that was actually a relatively quick stop. Now, that, of course, puts them totally out of sync with everybody else, because whatever fuel the others have got, these guys have now got 100% energy. Does that mean that they might have to splash at the end, or they might not? Well, in 3 hours and 20 minutes, or 3 hours or so, we're going to find out. It might end up not being a handicap, but they've lost time on track, and that is always a handicap.
It's 3 hours, 20 minutes to go. Kevin Estre beginning to edge closer to Milton Jakobsen for 4th place as well. One to watch.
Turquoise Porsche in the points for the first time this weekend. That is the car that is our championship leader in LMGT3, and they have a 5-point advantage over the 21 Ferrari. So 92 in 10th place will get 1 point, 20 Ferrari in 15th at the moment will get nothing. So we're talking tiny margins, but right now, with all the success ballast that 92 and 21 have accrued for being so successful earlier in the season, any point could be a lifesaver in Bahrain.
Darren, I mean, so many times you look back in these championship runs, it's often these results where a point, 2 points, 4 points comes that makes the difference at the end, whether or not you and your colleagues take the trophy home or don't.
It certainly is. It's, you know, the weekends when you're carrying the ballast and you're the one that's obviously playing catch up to everyone else. It's those weekends where you don't try and, you know, overdrive, make a mistake because you're trying to build on what you've got, and you just basically get as many points as you possibly can in that situation. It's easy though when you're on the back foot to make a mistake.
Eduardo Barrichello all over the back of Sebastian Bowe's McLaren. This is the battle for 6th, but let's catch up with the AMG Mercedes team.
I am next to Maxime Martin, driver of the 61 Mercedes. It's great to see the car slowly getting there and being in the pace, and there's a great fight happening with the Iron Dames as well.
Yeah, it's really nice. For sure, every race we had to improve. We are coming better and better every race. And yeah, we are finally in the mix. We can fight, and yeah, it's nice. I mean, the race is still long. There is a lot of different strategies in terms of drivers, tires, and so on, but at the moment it's going quite well.
Usually the Mercedes is quite nice with the tires. Is it the case here as well?
Yeah, definitely. We have quite a good race car. We can quite doubles in the tires, and I think it's an advantage. So we will have to see at the end of the race, because we have quite a good tire strategy. So it's quite interesting, but let's see.
Okay, thank you very much. And the car is about to come in for the driver change.
Now, hiring a driver as experienced as we see Barrichello trying to go around the outside, hiring a driver as experienced as Maxime Martin, you definitely feel is starting to up the performance of those Mercedes cars because he knows what a good GT3 car feels like. And again, Eduardo Barrichello all over the back of the McLaren, and that's the perfect opportunity perhaps to bring in a Brazilian McLaren driver, friend of the show, Nicolas Costa. You know what it's like to race at home here in Interlagos. Just seen Eduardo Dudu not only getting pole yesterday, but putting in a move on the McLaren. What's that atmosphere? First of all, welcome, but secondly, what's it like to be a Brazilian driver racing in this sort of hotbed of motorsport passion?
Hi Martin, hello to everyone watching the race. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. Yeah, it's a big boost for us. I think some people might see it as pressure, but me, myself at least, I believe it's a huge boost of confidence and really pushes you forward to extract that last 0.2 of a second that sometimes we cannot find when you're not at home.
Now everybody goes, oh yeah, Brazilian drivers, of course, they must know Interlagos like the back of their hands. I can remember having this conversation with you last year and you just saying, yeah, I know it from the outside of the spectator fence, but not from the inside.
Well, I think the subject there was the last time the WEC came here.
Yeah.
So I was a karting driver and I didn't have any pass. I had no access to WEC at all. And the last time I've seen the race was from the karting track. So it was crazy to be racing against all these guys all of a sudden. But in the meantime, I did have some experience at Interlagos. I did race at some national championships. So I think compared to a few of the other drivers, I can say kind of like Eduardo, we did race here a few times a year, so it's an advantage, but I think that really ends after FP1. So they're all professional drivers. They can find their way around the racing track. So yeah, it's good to be at home, but that's about it.
Well, we've just seen the McLaren losing a spot on track, but in fact they have come in for a stop. Sebastian Bode, Ben Keating in the pits as well, but that 33 car will have to come back for a drive-through penalty, as will the 61 Iron Lynx Mercedes. That's the black car, which Lynn Herdenius is now at the wheel of, as our GT3 cars make their pit stops, Graham.
Yep, absolutely right. So Lynn Herdenius will be back on pit lane very shortly. Full course yellow investigations been underway. There's still another full course yellow investigation for the same car to be dealt with. Also on pit lane, by the way, the leading car in LMGT3, Jose Maria Lopez, and as I speak, under investigation for pit lane speeding as he came into pit lane.
Which now means that the Iron Dames, Rahal Fry, leads the race from Rui Andrade in a TF Sport Corvette. There you can see the 92 Porsche, the turquoise car. That is currently now in 5th place, Ricardo Pera. Sean Gelael behind him in the McLaren, and behind him comes the Lexus of Jose Maria Lopez. So Lopez on an outlap.
The big difference between those three, though, is the two ahead here, the Porsche and the McLaren, owes a pit stop. Jose Maria Lopez has just emerged from that stop. In comes the Porsche.
Yeah, Ricky Pera comes down pit lane. It's as intense a battle in LMGT3 as it is in hypercar, isn't it? I mean, every single fraction of a second can make a big difference by the end of 6 hours of racing.
Definitely. We've seen before some really close racing, even before, let's say, 10 hours of racing that we finished maybe a couple of seconds apart. So yeah, every second counts, every split of a second counts, and you really just don't want to make any mistakes because it counts in the end.
And look, you were here racing with the McLarens last year for United Autosports. I mean, that was a real breakthrough race because McLaren got their first podium position. So the feeling in the team going into that second half of the season must have been exceptionally good.
Yeah, absolutely. We came before that from Le Mans, which we were quite strong. We weren't the fastest car, but on the race pace, we were there and we were fighting for the podium as well. When we had a mechanical failure, if I'm not mistaken, we were 3rd with 3.5 hours, 4 hours to go, which obviously hurts, but it's better to be competitive and than not, right? So when we came here, yeah, again, we were quite competitive and top 5 all the time, top 3. And the sister car got the podium, so it was quite amazing. I got a 4th place despite having a penalty and some slight braking issues since the beginning of the race. So we managed that throughout all the 6 hours. And we still managed to fight some of the big dogs. And it was so cool to be able to do that in front of my home crowd.
And look, we've talked about how hard it is to be in the GT field, battling, I mean, here we go, you know, classic thing, battling for position. they're lucky they haven't got a couple of hypercars coming. In fact, that's probably what the McLaren needs right now, because the Lexus is on fresher tyres and with a quick driver in. But dealing with that fast traffic, it always seems to me that's the hardest bit. Yes, you know, you've got speed, that's a given. You're racing equal cars, that's pretty much a given. But it's dealing with the faster traffic, and I just don't know where the brain space comes from to do that.
Yeah, I don't know what's harder, to be honest. If, in our case, being in a slower car and having to deal with the cars passing you, or actually being in the fastest car and not knowing what the guy in front would do, I think that might be even worse, because it's hard to anticipate. I mean, when you're driving and you see a faster car coming, you can see it coming sometimes not, but most of the times, yes. And you decide which way you're going to go, but it's not the way all the way around. So, yeah, it's like a game of chess, and obviously the LMGT3s want to lose as little times as they can to battling with the hypercars, and the same goes the other way.
And we're seeing exactly that right now. Both Toyotas trying to pick their way through this battle. And once you get into Sector 2, I mean, that's where most of the corners are on the track. There's almost no way through. I think they did really well to get in.
We've got a gaggle of LMGT3 cars either on or due onto pit lane now. Quick question, Nico. You were here on the grid last year. You've been here watching this year. Place seems packed to me. There's been a festival atmosphere for the last 2 or 3 days. Little bit about actually the Brazilian fan base and how they're embracing the FIA World Endurance Championship.
Well, I think last year was a huge success, and obviously the award gets spread out, and the championship is growing. I think worldwide, not only in Brazil. We've seen that everywhere with the amount of manufacturers that are coming in, and Brazilians do love motorsport a lot, and a good bit of motor racing. They see a good show. Obviously, they do want to come, and I think WEC is treating everybody so well here, putting a good show for everybody. I think the tendency is that it's going to grow every year, and I really hope that even after 2029, WEC keeps coming here, because, well, it's hugely important first for Brazilian motorsport and South American motorsport in general to have such a championship, but also, you know, us South Americans, we're very hot people, and we really want to welcome the championship and have a good race after all.
Fantastic stuff. Cadillac 1-2 still as we get close to the midway point of the Rolex 6 Hours of Sao Paulo. And this Interlagos circuit has seen so many dramatic races over the years. Of course, Paulistas, fervent motorsport fans, because of having this track in their heartland, because of the Fittipaldi heritage, Rubens Barrichello, and of course the sort of towering figure of Ayrton Senna, who called this track his home and had so many dramatic races here. And again, as we're hearing from Nico Costa, listen, if you've enjoyed what you've seen, get yourself to a track. Go to the FIA World Endurance Championship website, FIAWC.com, and follow the ticketing links. You can still get tickets for Kota, you can still get tickets for Fuji, for Bahrain. And don't forget, if you enjoy it, tell a friend. In fact, tell all your friends, even if the remainder of the season is out of reach for you in terms of distance, you can still watch it all live and uninterrupted on the FIA WEC.TV app. So very well worthwhile, and you get a lot more of me whittering in your ear.
It's always a good thing. And the Iron Dames into pit lane. Rahal Fry from the lead of the race. That cycles back to the lead. The 87 Lexus, Clemens Schmidt at the wheel of that car. Meantime, further penalty to come. It'll be 10 seconds added to the next pit stop for the 33 Corvette. That was the clash between Ben Keating and Nick Nielsen that saw a chunk bitten out of the right rear of the number 50 Ferrari. That car, by the way, has dropped back to 16th place. It's been very costly indeed for the Ferrari crew.
That's going to be very costly for 33 as well. That's their second penalty. In fact, that might be their third penalty. So, again, one of the arch rules, Nico Costa, of endurance racing, don't hit stuff, stay out of the pits. I mean, it's very easy to say. On a track this busy, it's very hard to do.
Well, definitely easier said than done, but yeah, in a 6-hour race, 10-hour race, whatever, even if it's a 3-hour race, if you have a contact in the first stint because you're trying to pass someone, and even if you do make the pass, but then you have 3-4 tenths of damage in your car, of aero balance and everything, and it's not worth it. So really just trying to keep out of trouble, keep your tires alive, and mostly keep the car alive. I mean, don't hit every curb you see. Try to be a little bit intelligent with it, and that's the funny thing about it. You have to be fast, but also you have to take care of yourself.
Look after your car and your car will look after you, especially the tyres. Sean Gallagher under investigation for a spike in power in the McLaren. That's not great news. Here's our second place car. We heard from the 88 car, Gianmarco Leverato. Looks like that is going no further. But the Proton Competition 77 car, Ben Tucker at the wheel. Bernardo Souza started the race, so they kept their bronze in for the double stint, got that drive time out of the way. And again, this is all part of running the race, is how you use that bronze drive time and how you use your silver and your gold or platinum drivers throughout the course of the race. So right now, up into second place. And don't forget, a year ago, both Mustangs burned out at the side of this track.
So Ben Tuck it is, under 10 seconds back from Clemens Schmidt, but off strategy with the Lexus pair. So Ben will have to pit fairly shortly. We're just into a fuel stint for the 87 car. We've got further investigation. This time it's the 59 and the 10. So Sebastian Boe and Eduardo Barrichello under investigation for an incident at turn 4 at, about 10 minutes to go. On pit lane for the Valkyrie. This is the 009 car of Alex Riberas. They're learning fast.
Really interesting to see how much arm dragging in the cooling ducts there of all the rubber debris. One of the things I noticed right from the beginning of free practice, this new surface, the Michelin engineers were telling us it generates a lot more grip for the tyre, and as a result the tyre is wearing out faster, and it wears out by rubbing the rubber off. The amount of rubber build-up offline, Nico, is really noticeable, and that's getting everywhere in the cars.
Well, definitely. I think it's a different type of dag compared to last year. We had a very old asphalt, very abrasive, and a lot of thermal dag. And now, obviously, we have more grip, and that creates all the problems, of which the teams have to go around it. But yeah, in general, it's just a different approach to it.
Yep. Peugeot 94 into the pit lane on zero energy.
Yeah,
feel like we'd have been blinking hard at him, wouldn't it?
Yes, Melody Atkinson to pit lane, fended off the ever closer attention for the Kevin Estre throughout that stint. Drama, meanwhile, for the leader in LMGT3. It will be a drive-through penalty for pit lane speeding, and that was Jose Maria Lopez on his way into the pits for the pit stop to take Clemens Schmidt into the car. With 5 minutes away from the halfway mark, they've got a quite sizable lead here, which eventually will prove to be over the sister 78 car, but that is going to close things right back up.
We're hearing that there's going to be a possible single tyre or possibly right side tyres going on here. There you are. Yeah, so right side tyre. In fact, there are more tyres on the apron, but we are just doing right sides. And again, everybody has sort of backed away a little bit from using the hard tyre. Now into the pit lane
this
for
will be the drive-through.
The drive-through, yep, that's 87.
So watch for Ben Tuck. Ben Tuck following down pit lane for his full stop, but watch to the right-hand side. Don't think we're going to see the 78 car go through. This is 78 coming down now to pit entry. Power down to turn 1.
His second drive in the car this season.
We were saying earlier in the weekend, remarkably, and here comes the 87. So the gap I think will be fairly visual. Remarkably, Nakayama is the first driver in the pro seat to have actually raced this car twice this season. All of that came after the injury away from the racetrack for Ben Barnicoat. Thankfully now back in action, Ben.
So Clemens Schmidt, he came out in front of Yuichi Nakayama. So
yes,
Kodis ASP Lexus 1-2.
We'll wait and see when they clear the next timing sector. It is about 12 seconds, that gap. That's a big dent made in the advantage that have been carved out. Rahel Fry, by the way, 10, 11 seconds back from that. Then Eduardo Barrichello.
That might have been a two-tyre stop for the Mustang. Let's catch up with the Lexus team. The man who started in the 87 is Petru Umbrarescu.
I am next to Petru Umbrarescu, driver of the 87 Acodis ASP Lexus. To the word of Jérôme Polican, the team manager, you were flying this weekend. So congratulations. And so far it's going pretty good.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, I kind of clicked with the car here. Even though it's the first time on this racetrack, I enjoy it a lot. And to be honest, after Le Mans, I had a little bit less pressure on me. So now I can relax and enjoy more, and yeah, you can see it in the results.
Just a quick information, do you know a little bit more about the tire deg with the car so far?
Yeah, this is our weakest point, but we try to manage a lot the tire in the first stint so we can have it for the second one. At the moment it looks good. We don't know how it's going to be, still half of the race to go, but yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Again, the hard tyre, a number of the teams, particularly Ferrari actually, were saying that the hard tyre really seems to work a little better with the front engine cars. They were a little harder on their tyres when they were on the medium, so maybe that's helping that little swing of performance for Lexus. It's always been quick, but its tyres have not survived.
You get the relative pace of these cars. Ben Tuck leaves the pit again, and he's down in 14th place now. It's we have had a couple of full course yellows, but the top 10 cars separated by under 50 seconds in what has been a remarkably green race in the nicest possible way. Nico, I guess the question that everybody listening in to your voice here is, I take it you're keen to come back.
Well, definitely. If I'm honest, it really hurts to be sitting outside and watching the race, thinking I could have been there and be in a competitive place, let's say. Looking at how last year went, we were really competitive every round, especially in the second half of the season. I think we led 4 of the races at some point. So, yeah, I'm working every day, dreaming to be back at WEC. It was a dream in the first place to be here anyway. Yeah, I think last year I proved I could be competitive, even against some of the golds and platinums and whatever. So, yeah, I just want to keep this dream alive and come back, really, to be part of this great championship.
All right. Well,
You'll be very welcome.
We would love to see it, Rich-Mac. Good luck with that. Thank you for joining us. Now let's catch up with our action again. A little bit of bumping and boring there for the number 6 Porsche.
Wasn't there just?
Kevin Estre trying to find his way through this big GT3 battle.
Well, that's the big GT3 battle with Danny Junqueira under pressure from Ben Tuck as they try to make their way back up through the field. Coming across Pedro Ibrahim in the 31 BMW. They've made their way past there, but now we've got Chevy versus Ford, Corvette versus Mustang.
V8s everywhere.
So it's 33 Corvettes and the 77 Ford. Sorting it out for what at the moment is 12th place, but it's so close. In and out for the 93 Peugeot. That car pitting from 9th place in the hands of Paul Di Resta. Also on pit lane, the 83 Ferrari in the hands of Robert Kubica. That car for 10th. So it's 9th and 10th between the 93 and the 83, both in the driver's points.
And both cars taking right sides only. And Darren Turner, this is a real way of mitigating the warm-up of the car, is to try and keep at least one pair of warm tyres. There you can see Augusto Farfus, his wife Liri on the right-hand side, his young son who started karting, his daughter who is really starting to make waves as a kart racer. So it's a talented Brazilian family.
Pretty certain his daughter is an Owen Dane now.
I think you're right.
I think she is part of their karting squad.
Number 12 caddy is in from the lead of the race. This is Alex Lynn staying in. I think they were just changing the drinks bottle there.
Excellent stint from Alex, that one. Went to the lead and pulled away. And this is, well, whatever Kelvin van der Linde could do, the doctor could do just as well or better.
3 hours in, 3 to go, and we hear that it will be 4 fresh tyres for the Cadillac. Track temperature 31 degrees, so holding steady. It's just dropped 1 degree from the highest point of the day. And again, only 4 men allowed, or 4 mechanics allowed to change tyres. That looked like right side only, but we will catch up with that in a moment. Drive-through penalties for car number 20, and that is the remaining healthy BMW, Marco Wittmann at the wheel. For 61, the Iron Lynx Mercedes of Lynn Hodenius, and those are for full course yellow procedures. So more drive-through penalties. Full course yellow and speeding in the pit lane.
That is the second penalty for the 61 car. Both for full course yellow, if I remember correctly. The 20 BMW running in 5th place pits immediately. So whether or not this is the drive-through or whether or not they are coming in for a regular pit stop, we'll shortly see. But it is topsy-turvy stuff beyond the top 4 or 5 cars. Cadillac lead the race at the moment in the hands of the 38 car in the hands of Jenson Button. 8.5 seconds back is Michael Christensen in the first of the Porsches, with the number 6 Porsche third in the hands of Kevin Estre.
I'm stuck behind this guy.
I know, Malte, but now we are on the same lap, so we cannot not ask you blue flag. So either you overtake, but at the moment we cannot ask you blue flag. Remember, we need to keep a bit of tire. We need still to do 43 laps there.
Winter's box, Winter's box.
Right, so the car he's stuck behind is Neil Jarni in the 99 Proton Competition Porsche. Alex Lynn and Marco Wittmann in the 20 BMW have both just left the pit lane. Alex Lynn for service. Marco Wittmann has served that drive-through.
The reason he's going to be getting a little aerated here is he's going to be getting information. He's being caught by the 51 Ferrari at the moment. This is the battle for 7th, Malte Jakobsen and Antonio Giovinazzi. And the 51 Ferrari is gradually hauling up to the rear end of the 94.
Jenson Button remains our race leader at the midway point. Cadillac 1st and 4th, Porsche 2nd and 3rd. Battle is shaping up nicely. At the start of the race, it was poleman Will Stevens for Cadillac Hertz Team Jota that led away from Julian Andlauer in the red and white Porsche. But going around the outside, Earl Bamber looking to make it a caddy 1-2, an unsuccessful lunge. And it wasn't long before Cadillac were feeling the pressure. Cold tyres, the number 6 Porsche, cost them a spot to the 83 Ferrari. 3 wide into turn 1 in the dogfight that is LMGT3, but the pole-sitting Aston Martin kept its nose out front, at least early on. A couple of cars rally crossing, but no major damage out of the Senareses first time round. Andlauer was on the hunt, bringing in the tyres very quickly on the formation laps, and before the end of lap 1, the Porsche was in front. A caddy 2-3. Sebastian Bourdais not delighted with that state of affairs. Out front in LMGT3 soon, the speed of the Lexus in race trim was proved as they grabbed the lead from the Racing Spirit of Le Mans machine. And then Toyota fighting a rearguard action against 2 Alpines and losing. Toyota struggling for pace here in qualifying and in the race. Drama for the 35 Alpine. Hybrid issues, the car coming in red and then retired with that hybrid issue. Early end for 35. So far our only retirement. In fact, that car went back out on track and continues to run. Number 8 Toyota, struggling and trying to find a way through traffic. 92 Porsche, the championship leader in LMGT3, also involved in that misunderstanding. Locking front brakes, saw Julian Andlauer, or the number 6 Porsche, running into the back of the Peugeot. Good battle of defence, Mikkel Jensen in the 93 Peugeot, holding on well. And up front, Porsche versus Caddy at the head of the field. Looks as though this may well be a battle between Penske and Jota for supremacy here in Sao Paulo. Neither yet has been able to deal a decisive blow. They've each got a hand around the rival's throat. It's very close racing, and waiting to pick up the pieces perhaps, BMW and Peugeot. In LMGT3, it is a 1-2 for Acodis ASP's Lexuses. Cadillac Hertz Team Jota first and third, with Porsche Penske Motorsports number 5 car in between them. So halfway through the Rolex 6 Hours of Sao Paulo, it is Caddy Hertz Team Jota's 38 car that leads from the number 5 Porsche Penske Motorsport machine. Number 12 Caddy in third. BMW in fourth after a disappointing start to the race for the number 15 car with brake problems. Number 20 remains healthy. And the Proton Competition Porsche showing the underlying speed of the 963 here. They are in 6th position. The best of the Ferraris is now the 51 car, up to 8th place, as 83 has had problems and number 50 had to stop for bodywork changes. In LMG G3, Lexus 1-2. The Iron Dames Porsche now up to 3rd after a really strong run from that crew. Racing Spirit Le Mans started on pole. They've used all their bronze driver time and has started to come back into it, but don't count out the Corvettes or the United Autosport McLarens. The BMWs seem to be struggling a little for pace, and Ferrari definitely are. The 92 championship leading Porsche is in the points. Their closest rivals in 21 struggling for speed here. Martin Hayden, Graham Goodwin, Darren Turner, and down in the pit lane, Bruce Ioane providing the coverage. And Darren, with Porsche just pitting Michael Christensen from 2nd place, but with all 3 Porsches in the top half dozen, it is clearly a very competitive car here, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that the chat in the paddock during the build-up of this race was they're going to be very good in the race condition, good on the tyres, which is exactly what you want here, and a bit of an unknown, really, for everyone with the new tarmac.
Well, let's catch up with Proton Competition. Their 99 Porsche in the top 6 as well.
And I'm next to Nicolas Varone, driver of the Porsche number 99, the Proton Porsche, the Porsche Privateer. You're leading the Privateer, you're in the top 6, it's going pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, right now we are in a really good spot. We started a bit on the back. We have a great race car. We work a lot during the Friday and Saturday in free practice for the race, and it seems to be paying off. We have a great pace right now. A really good stint in the start by Nico, then now Neil is an impressive pace, honestly, and we are getting into the front. So yeah, at the moment we are running really good. I think best of the year so far, our pace and where we are in the race, so hopefully we can bring up a good result in the end.
Good luck for you, it's looking pretty good. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you so much.
I think that's a really impressive run from these guys. I mean, the car has been run by Proton Competition, who, while they're nobody's fools, are absolutely not the same size as Roger Penske's operation. I think they are definitely punching above their weight at the moment, aren't they?
There's a tiny little bit of a difference in resource there. Would say, by the way, and something we've not noted so far, as the Cadillac Hertz Team Jota crew go to work on the number 38 car from the lead in the hands of Jenson Button. That should see Alex Lynn back into the lead. Don't overlook the fact Nico Pino and Nico Varone, not their home race, they're not Brazilian. We've got Nico from Argentina and Nico from Chile, but it is the continent on which they dwell, and I'm sure that's drawing eyes to TV screens as well.
Yeah, but that's like saying that Darren Turner racing at Monza, well, it's pretty much a home race.
Yeah, but that's it would apply better if he did have a home race, which let's hope in the future we will. Can we swing effortlessly from Hertz Team Jota Cadillac to Papaya, because joining us in the booth is none other than the sporting director of McLaren. He looks around as if that might be somebody else. Rob Bell. Rob, great to see you. Here, of course, supporting the efforts of United Autosports and the LMGT3 efforts. How's it going down there?
Yeah, thanks for having me, as ever. Yeah, it's going all right. It's really hard to read the race, actually, because what we found is for example, we double stinted our bronze driver at the beginning, but a lot of people didn't. So there's a lot of split strategies with drivers and tyres as well. Some people have put new tyres on, some people have put half sets of tyres. So far, so good, but I don't think we'll really find out where we are until the last stint, to be honest.
This LMGT3 class is really gelling, really coming together now. First year, a bit of a year of exploration. Now things are bedding in. The teams understand the formula, they understand the task. We've got the new tyre here. It's a circuit we've been to before. It just seems to be getting closer, getting more competitive. People are trying different things, and some of them are working.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think the GT3 format's tried and tested, and races all around the world, you know. Obviously, WEC and Le Mans being the pinnacle of that. So it's a formula that we know works, and look, the racing's fantastic. And like I said, we'll see the combination of this race. Hopefully there's some good racing to come at the very end. But yeah, grids worldwide in this sort of race, and GT racing is brilliant, which is obviously fantastic for a manufacturer who produces the cars like we do.
Now, the other thing, of course, that is sort of the 800-pound gorilla in the McLaren room is that there is a hypercar program on the way. How squealy excited is everybody yet, or are we trying to keep that under control?
Well, look, it's drawn massive excitement. It was obviously announced and launched at Le Mans fully. You know, a few of us might have known about it a little bit before, but now it's out there. Look, it's drawn huge attention already, and look, the excitement's fantastic. The cars look great. Me personally, look, I'm a big GT fan, so let's not forget the GT cars. But look, it's brilliant to have both in the brand, both racing at the sharp end going forward in the future, hopefully, and it's a positive thing for both GT racing and LMDH within McLaren.
And the way the Formula One team is producing the goods at the moment as well. I mean, everybody at McLaren must be feeling pretty pleased with the season so far.
Yeah, yes, absolutely, and long way to continue. But look, you know, as the Formula One team's doing well, that does have a cascade effect down to LMDH, down to GT racing, because the excitement is there for the whole brand of McLaren.
Noticed there's other events are available this weekend, of course. One of them is the Goodwood Festival of Speed. A big presence there from McLaren, as always. And pretty clear that Zach and the rest of the crew behind this coming hypercar effort has seen what has been achieved by other brands in terms of return on investment. An exciting new car, or version of a car, being previewed there. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Obviously, more news to follow. I think I've not kept abreast of Goodwood, so I've not actually.
This is the track-only version of the LMDH, isn't it?
Yes, all right. So yes, I was just double-checking that had actually been announced.
Not something else you've launched.
Yeah, just drop me in it there, Goodwood. Thank you, Chris, Graham. So yeah, absolutely. Look, that's going to be a track version, and look, it'll be a fantastic thing to be able to drive, to be in. And it'll be, you know, almost identical to what we see here. Other manufacturers have done it, and, you know, what a thing to be able to drive and have on your track anywhere around the world as well. So
switching effortlessly back to GT3.
Yep.
This switch from GT regulations 2 years ago to GT3, what we've seen is the numbers are bigger, but the depth of variation is far wider than we've seen in the FI World Endurance Championships GT classes than ever before. That's a massive plus for any manufacturer.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's always tricky when you've got two sets of regulations around the world. When you bring them together, you simply have, you know, everyone's happy. Everyone's got a car in the class. Everyone can produce similar machinery. It's then one BOP system around the world to a degree. So ultimately, I see that as the way forward. And we're seeing it now. Grids are full in this, grids are full around the world, and it's easier for manufacturers to produce just that one car. You don't have to have a car in two separate regulations, which ultimately takes more resource. So it's only a positive.
You've arrived in the booth in what can only be described as papaya.
Of course,
very orange.
Of course.
Can I say that's not just your skin tone, but car marks, it can be tribal. Has this surprised you, the level of loyalty you're seeing for people across the board? You've been involved with McLaren for a long time now, but it's not by any means the only brand you've been involved in. There's at some point I recall having a conversation with you as the guy that's driven more different GTE cars than any other guy anywhere. But McLaren does bring with it a lot of brand loyalty.
Yeah, it does actually, because I think it doesn't matter how much you're winning F1, how much of an amazing base we've got at MTC, we are globally still the underdogs, really, because we are a relatively small manufacturer. So I think that brings a little bit of a romance around the whole thing. The Bruce McLaren story is amazing, and how it was built, you know, organically through the Ron Dennis days, etc. So that's been carried on, and obviously we've got our colour, our trademark papaya, which makes us stand out, and I think it's fantastic. And yes, actually being in the stands here, obviously the other side of the world from base, actually there's a lot of papaya here, so it's really good to see. And when LMDH arrives, I think we'll just see that really flourish, and we'll see more and more of it.
We did see a few of the guys in the stands slightly confused, I think, from a distance. It had to be a distance. I think they thought it was Lando, but as soon as she came out from the shade, they realised absolutely it's not.
Yeah, as soon as they open their eyes. Meanwhile, while this has all been going on, Sean Gillel has been doing a great job in holding off Ricardo Pera. And this is all part of the balance, isn't it? You talked about it early on, you know, some teams doing a single stint with the bronze, some double stinting to get all of the bronze driver. So it's quite often not until the last hour or hour and a half that we really end up with kind of where we are accurately when all the pros are usually behind the wheel.
Yeah, and I think what we'll see is our pro drivers are going to be in at the very end. So that will make us, we're going to chase down the leaders, hopefully, all being well. We're going to be seeing that. So it's a bit cat and mouse, but hopefully at the end we'll just be in with a shot.
With 2 hours and 40 minutes to go, by the way, top 11 separated by under a minute in what's been a very clean race so far. Plenty of rubbing, plenty of racing. The odd incident here and there, but no major disruptions to the flow at the moment. And here we go. This is the championship leading 92 Porsche, the car that won the LMGT3 race at Le Mans, all over the back of the number 95 car for 8th position, Sean Gillel and Ricky Pera. This is what it's all about, Rob.
Yeah, look, again, we said it, it's brilliant racing. You know, unfortunately, that's just been a Porsche overtaking the McLaren. It's just not what I want to see, but we'll fight another day, I'm sure.
Well, at least it's not the Hugh Chamberlain effect where, welcome to booth, Hugh Chamberlain. Hugh, is that your car on fire? Exit Hugh Chamberlain. So, well done. You've managed to come and visit us without either of your cars retiring from the race.
Well, Rob, good luck for United Autosports for the remainder of the race. Good luck with what comes next for the brand in GT racing and far beyond. And long may they be a McLaren presence in the FI World Endurance Championship and far beyond that.
Awesome. As ever, thanks for having me. See you later.
Thanks for the tea bags, by the way.
Brought the tea bags. Yorkshire tea. Thank you.
So Clement Schmidt and Yuichi Nakayama still leading in LMGT3 for Lexus. Rahul Fry, the Iron Dames, in third. Eduardo Barrichello has brought the pole-sitting number 10 car up to fourth place. And here is the second McLaren battle. This is Sebastian Bowen, 59, with Kelvin van der Linde behind him. Kelvin in the 46 BMW. We saw him relaxing very much on the... In fact, they need to get a bigger sofa, I think, in the 46 garage, because even Valentino Rossi couldn't relax on it totally. Van der Linde, Darren Turner all over the McLaren at the moment.
Yeah, he just made that gap for himself there, didn't he? Got underneath him through turn 6, made him unsure where he was and positioned himself to make sure he could get that move into turn 7 and 8. So, yeah, good move there.
Well, we talked about this off-air and beforehand about the lack of visibility in these cars. And you know, people at home might say, what on earth are you talking about? They've got windows all over the place. But when you've got your helmet on, you very much restrict your vision. Then you've got a hands device that stops your head moving, and in the case of an accident, but also in the case of looking around you. So it's a very hard car to see out of.
All of them are, you know, yeah. Even the hypercars, but the GT cars at home for me in particular. I think about how they have changed in the sort of 25 years of me racing GT cars, and the aperture that you're looking through and what you can see has just reduced and reduced over the years. Our safety has improved, obviously, because of everything they've been installing in the cars and the way the seats are designed, hand devices and the helmet apertures, etc., etc. But you are getting to see less and less of the actual racetrack. And there's blind spots. We've got the camera system in the car for the rear view. You've got your normal mirrors. But even so, you still end up with a proper blind spot. Then you've got to deal with the hypercars that are a lot lower to the ground as well. And you've got to have that sort of sixth sense to say, where exactly are you at this point? You know they're there somewhere, but you can't see them anymore. So it's easy to look from the outside and go, well, that was obvious. I mean, the guy was underneath you, and why did you turn in? But it's quite tricky sometimes to know exactly where that car is.
And I think that's the difference between a driver and a racing driver. Given enough time, we could all get relatively close to a lap time in a GT car on this track. But then you throw in 38 other cars fast moving around you, and suddenly everything you know goes out the window, because for a normal driver, all of your mental capacity is just not crashing.
When you say given enough time, how much time are we talking? Years,
several
decades?
Weeks. Yeah. Several weeks, definitely.
Startling level of confidence there from the big man.
But for you guys, racing the car, physically dragging the speed out of it, has to be basically of no more mental strain almost than driving on a motorway, because you need your brain for all the other stuff.
I think that's what sort of calls out the really good drivers in sports car racing, any racing really, but the ones who've got the capacity to deal with more than just doing the actual driving and driving on the limit. You know, that extra sort of headroom above that gives them the chance to think about not just what's going on around them in terms of other cars, what they're overtaking, but also race strategy, because quite often it's the driver that could lead the, hang on guys, in about 20 laps this is going to happen, because they can see the race unraveling in front of them, and to give the engineers a bit of a sort of a, hey, you need to be thinking about this in the future. But they're the really, really amazing drivers who have got that extra bit of capacity.
Speaking of which, down the inside comes the 61 Mercedes. 61 Mercedes. Lynn Hidenius going by Pedro Ibrahim in the BMW.
Did that from a separate galaxy. That was from way, way back. Worth mentioning, by the way, in this LMGT3 battle, the top 15 cars are all still on the lead lap. We have had cars with delays. The 88 car pretty much out of the race now with that suspension problem. Mattia Drudi, who's been a busy boy the last few weeks, we'll cover that off in a moment or two, sits in 17th. Here's another battle, McLaren and the 33 Corvette, and it's gone the way of the Corvette for 9th place overall in LMGT3. Danny Cadella on Sean Gillel, but again that's a platinum driver against a silver driver, and this is all around the different strategies that have emerged through this race.
Now in LMGT3, 15 cars still on the lead lap. In Hypercar, 5. Only the top 5 remain on the lead lap.
And
that's pretty brutal.
In no small part, Martin, that's because of the shortness of this lap and because it's so busy with traffic. And as you know, as Darren's been saying all the way through this race, when you get into the tight, twisty stuff and you've got these packs of GT cars, it doesn't take, what, 2 or 3 occasions, and when you've caught that gaggle, it's costing you 3, 4, 5 seconds, and all of a sudden you're just away and gone at the front of the race, or away and gone at the back of the pack. It's two and a half hours and change to go, and it's 65 seconds separate the top 5 cars in this race. Cadillac 1-2, Porsche Penske Motorsport 3-4, Porsche Effect, Peugeot in 5th. It's been an extraordinary afternoon.
They're starting to shuffle into brand order, aren't they? I mean, I know we've got 2.5 hours left. We've got the 2 Caddies, the 2 Porsches, the 2 Peugeots, should probably have the 2 BMWs ahead of 2 of the Ferraris, and then Alpine sort of making up the numbers a little bit, and Toyota kind of a long way out. Now, on these new graphics, we've got 3-letter acronyms for the drivers, which we're sort of used to from Formula 1 and so on, but we haven't really seen before. So let's just run down who's in what car. Lynn is Lynn. That's gone now, so much for that then. Button, but there's a lot of them. You go, who's Jack and who's DIR? And the same here. You've got Clement Schmidt, Yuichi Nakayama, Rahul Fry, Rui Andrade, ahead of Eduardo Barrichello. Well, let's hear from the Iron Dames. Rahul Fry currently running in 3rd.